Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is TAC. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. She's Jocelyn Carney. Joss, we're really going to have to stretch to fill this. I can't do it. I can't even do a bit. I'm like legitimately nervous about covering this. There is too much. There's actually too much to cover.
I think this is the largest announcement we have ever had in the history of Hearthstone, and that might even include the actual launch of Hearthstone. Like,
definitely.
Just the announcement of the game itself. Like, there is so much to talk about. There's so much changing. We have new expansion news. We have Battlegrounds changes and other patch stuff, because they stealth dropped a patch on us today, by the way, guys. We have changes to Priest. We have a new hero added for the first time since the game launched. Like, I don't think it could have gone any bigger. Oh, and we have regular Hall of Fame too. Like,
Yep.
Whatevs.
It's absolutely insane. And so if some things are missing today, we will do deeper dives on later episodes when we have the room to breathe.
Yes.
We know a lot of you do like long episodes. Some of you don't. We do our best to please everyone. And we apologize if we don't hit on the very specific thing you are the most interested in.
Also, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
That too. We have been recording this show at night, which means I have actually been enjoying an adult beverage for most of the episodes this year. However, we're starting this one a little bit early, and it's going to be such a long one. I'm going to call in for a care package from Katie at a later point during the episode when I feel I need some liquid courage to get me through. So
I have whiskey in the wings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, our lovely chat room is here today. I'm exceptionally thankful for them hanging out with us, because it is going to be a long one. Hi, everybody. Strap in. It's going to be a hell of an episode today. And before we get into all of it, thank you so much to everyone that is supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. If you like this show, whether they're the normal 90-minute episodes or the marathon session we're about to embark on, if you want to support us, what we're doing, and keep the show coming at you with all of the prep that it requires to make this show, and there was a lot of it today.
Yeah.
Please head on over to patreon.com/TAC. And also thank you to our most recent patrons, Ciro Kobama is how I'm going to pronounce that one, Daniel Glodick, and King Dupless. I think at maximum only 2 people gave us their real names. I think a maximum.
I love that maximum.
Ciroc Obama. Oh, it could be like Ciroc, but it was spelled with a C, not an S. But yeah, that'd be a cool way to say it. But without further ado, the biggest news in the history of Hearthstone since it's the announcement of its existence. Yeah. Let us begin.
Smiley face emoji.
That's right. Smiley face emoji. I could never feel it more. Before we get into anything else, hot take. The live action Storage Wars style announcement of this expansion is the single greatest live action announcement that Team 5 has ever pulled off. And that is a tall freaking order.
I cannot argue with any of that. Honestly, smiley face emoji might be my favorite thing of all time.
Yeah. And
just of all things, of all times, forever, smiley face emoji.
I think Hadija turning into a demon hunter is my favorite thing ever. And also just the giving themselves to emo jokes. There's just so much, everything about this was definitely my sense of humor. And so thank you. And also curse you, David Kosak, because I'm going to have to listen to Jocelyn use smiley face emoji unironically as a response to things from now on. So
I mean, I've already started writing things out. Like when I hashtag things, I'll like actually write out hashtag, or like I will write out my emojis, but I haven't actually graduated to the point of saying them out loud. And now that Dave has done it, I feel like I'm validated and I'm seen and I can start talking like this, and I can't thank him enough.
I love chat room right now. I think Hula Gaming says, I love how excited Garrett is pretending to be since he's known for quite some time. No, this is legitimate excitement because now I just get to talk openly and don't need to worry about breaching NDA and getting this show no more access to anything ever for the rest of its existence. AKA pulling a polygon.
I was wondering if we were going to mention that, man. Oh.
Hey, Polygon, I'm more professional than you, and I'm an independent Florida man trying not to get eaten by gators on a daily basis. Ha!
Yeah, you're a bunch of dicks.
Also, I used to love your website, but half of your articles have nothing to do with video games anymore. Please address. Anyways, actually still read Polygon a lot. There's so much, I don't even know where to start. We decided to start with the new class because it was something that we have been told many times by multiple members of the Hearthstone team was never going to happen. So we are getting a new class. It is the Demon Hunter. Illidan will be the portrait for that new class. Woo!
Those teeth, man, like he is enraged.
It feels so good to say it. It feels so good to say it out loud, Jocelyn. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So good. So freaking good. You might be wondering at home, probably not, because if you're listening to this, I have a feeling you're already up to date, but you're kind of curious what our hot take is, but we're still going to inform you nonetheless what the hero power is for Demon Hunters, and it's called Demon Claws. It's going to cost you 1 mana. They're breaking their own rule. It's going to cost you 1 mana, and you gain +1 attack this turn. Now, Jocelyn, I've already heard people say that this is a little on the underwhelming side, and I say, go look at the cards.
Yeah, so my first immediate reaction was 1 mana, WTF. Like, why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. This isn't how these things are supposed to work. Hero powers have a cost, and that cost is 2.
So we live in a society, and apparently Demon Hunters do not.
Apparently, I was so thrown by this 1 mana hero power. I didn't even kind of wrap my head around the balance or any of it. I was just like, they're breaking too many rules. I understand you want to live outside the box now, Hearthstone, and you're doing things to experiment and everything else, but hero power costs are sacred.
they are sacred. I talked to a few people about this at the summit, and the thing I kept hearing was that they struggled with 2 mana for a while and it just kind of felt that it was arbitrary, and they figured, well, can it be 1? Is there any real reason we can't make a 1 mana hero power? And they decided that no. It's
gonna hurt my brain. That's why you can't do 1 mana hero powers, because it just ruins my head. I don't care. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm super happy that they did this because, I mean, we've had this conversation on the show so many times. Please don't follow arbitrary rules just because it's the way you've always done it. But the fact that, like, this feels so core to the game, and they were just like, you know what? Let's just change it. I feel like this hero power, it may not seem like a big deal, but it kind of just encapsulates the way that the Hearthstone team seems to be operating these days, and I love it. It's like, well, it's always been that way. So?
Yeah, why?
Moving on, we're doing it differently. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a shill, but like, I really agree with them. I 100%. Like, why? Why? I love asking that question of anyone. I liked it when I was a kid, annoying the living crap out of my parents. I like it when I'm getting my speeding ticket increased in cost, when I'm asking the cop why they have to write that ticket for me. And I love it now. I love asking why, because I don't like arbitrary rules, and I love breaking arbitrary rules. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah, so in terms of the actual hero power itself, I think it makes a lot of sense. And at 1 mana, it's kind of in line with the most obvious comparison, right? Which is Rogue. Like, Rogue, you get technically it's a weapon. This is like a hero buff, but it's like with Rogue, you pay 2 mana and then your hero gets 1 attack over 2 turns. Here, you're paying 1 mana each turn, so a total of 2 mana to do essentially the same thing, except again, it's not an actual weapon. So, like, you can't, like, buff Illidan's hero power with traditional weapon type things unless, well, you kind of, like, you have to play a weapon card. It itself is not a weapon to be buffed by, like, green skin.
Yeah. I mean, it shares things with Rogue, with Mage, with Druid. Like all three of those popped immediately into my brain. Obviously, there's differences.
Yeah, like Druid, you're paying that extra mana to have that armor, right? Mm-hmm. So it's all kind of, like at 1 mana, this makes sense. And I wouldn't want it to see like 2 mana for like 2 attack or something. That would seem too powerful. And like, I mean, you'd be using your face, but I don't know. 1 mana, 1 attack seems to make sense from a balance perspective for me anyways, with all of my game design experience.
I will say it made, I got the log. I think I played like 10 games of Demon Hunter while I was out at the summit, and it makes the game, it feels surprisingly different than any other class in the game. There's something about you just weaving this in like almost the closest way I can feel, or I can kind of explain it, is like it feels like a proactive quest druid. It's like the opposite of it, because with quest druid you're thinking about leaving that 1 extra mana up, right? But this is like, I have 1 extra, because so often in Hearthstone when you have that 1 extra mana, what the hell am I gonna do with it? Unless I've got like a mortal coil or something, right? But here there's always something you can do, and the fact that for basically 7 years now, if you've been playing since beta, we've been having to pay 2 mana for our hero power. Suddenly not having to do that, it out the gate makes it feel drastically different. But also, the other 9 heroes still have 2 mana hero power. So like for its existence, Demon Hunter is there's just going to be a little subtle thing always there for Demon Hunter that makes it feel different and stand out against the other classes, even though the hero power feels familiar. Mm-hmm. And it's because of the way that this affects the economy of your mana, and I really dig it. So I'm a fan. I was really hesitant when I first learned about this, and when I got my hands on it, I was converted. I had some apprehension when they threw this up on the screen too, but then when I got to go play around with it, I was like, this totally, it feels Demon Hunter-y, because you're always attacking something. It doesn't have to be face. You can use this for control reasons, and it feels like a Demon Hunter. I really feel at the top here, and hopefully I won't repeat this a million times over the course of the episode as we talk about Demon Hunter cards, that they have landed on the flurry feeling of playing a Demon Hunter. That's kind of what I walked away with when I got to test pilot it. So let's move on to other things that make Demon Hunter unique, including a class-specific keyword, which is Outcast. I love the ridiculous, like, emo sad boy reason given for this. Like, Demon Hunters live on the edges of society, and they're shunned by their loved ones. Well, how does that play into Outcast? Well, we called it Outcast because mechanically, if you play a card from the right or leftmost position in your hand, it does something cool. Like, it's like such a cold and calculated mechanical Hearthstone thing, and they layered so much flavor of emo ridiculousness into their explanation of the keyword. But yeah, Outcast is a new keyword where if you play a card and it's the leftmost in your hand or the rightmost in your hand, something good happens for you, and usually something bad for your opponent. And we got quite a few examples of it here. The first is Consume Magic, a 1 mana common Demon Hunter spell that reads Silence an enemy minion, Outcast, draw a card. So you could just play this and silence an enemy minion for one mana, but if it's to the right, or if it's rightmost or leftmost, you also draw a card, which takes this from a card I am not interested in really at all to a card I am quite interested in.
Yep, same card draw. I mean, and not to mention that, but this is also quite a cheap cost, right? So if you're hanging on to it for a long time and then you're waiting for the perfect target, it's just sitting there in your hand and you don't have to worry necessarily about like weaving it into your turn. It's not going to have that big of an impact, and you can kind of play it whenever. Same thing if you top deck this thing. It's like, okay, well, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Silence something and also draw a card at the same time. Like this seems really interesting.
Yeah. We also got to look at the Illidari Fellblade, a 4 mana 5.
This seems freaking broken.
It's good. It's a 4 mana 5/3 rare Demon Hunter minion with Rush. Outcast, gain immune this turn.
Yeah, so 4 mana, 5/3, rushing that doesn't die when it hits something, which it should die. It only has 3 health. It should, by all intents and purposes, should die. But no, if it's has no friends, then it stands alone. Oh man.
Yeah, it's essentially like, would you play a spell that was like 5 damage to a minion, spawn a 5/3?
For 4.
But it has to be in your right or leftmost to get that effect. Like, yeah, I would play
basically to get the 5/3 minion.
Exactly. I would play the hell out of that card. And I play quite a bit with this card. It's good. It's as good as it sounds. Can confirm. It works. This just freaking works. And then we also saw I-Beam. We were not going to make it out of Demon Hunter without getting a look at I-Beam. It's a 3 mana epic Demon Hunter card with lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion, outcast. This card costs 0. This is also even better than it may initially appear, because free or cheap cards in Demon Hunter enables outcast, because it means you can get it out of the left or rightmost area of your hand and trigger the outcast on whatever is behind that card if it happens to fall next in line, which was something I noticed time and time over while I was piloting cool-ass Demon Hunter decks. It's so good. There's just a feeling...
So these 3 cards, come from the basic set, right? Like these cards are the same as like mages, like fireballs.
Yes. So Demon Hunter is getting 10 basic cards and a 20 card Demon Hunter set, like all as part of the starter package. And when you unlock the Demon Hunter, they're adding a single player experience that kind of takes you through Illidan's story, which will unlock the class once you complete it. You're going to get all 30 of those cards. So every card we just talked about, actually, these are all from the Demon Hunter set because they have the little Demon Hunter watermark on them.
Okay. Yeah. So it is kind of like its own little set. Like they didn't. Okay.
The vibe I was getting, because I was asking folks about it, I'm like, is this classic set? Because I noticed very quickly when I was going through the collection manager, like some were clearly basic because they have the basic watermark or lack thereof. And then some had this watermark, which is different from the expansions watermark. I said, hey, what is this? Is this classic set? And they're like, well, it's the Demon Hunter set. And the vibe I got was, we'll see what happens with this set.
Okay.
It seemed like they
apparently,
weren't ready to...
Celestalon is in our chat room.
Oh, the initiate
and
set.
Says, yeah, it's an initiate set that counts as Year of the Dragon for rotational purposes, which is kind of interesting that it's not Year of the Phoenix for rotational purposes. But I guess Year of the Phoenix, you're getting 15 additional Demon Hunter cards per expansion, right? So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Oh man, Lynn's is in here too. Can we get Dave Kosak? Hadija? Anyone else want to come hang out?
Yeah.
Anyone else want to come hang out? Thanks for hanging out, guys. Yeah. Now I do remember that. I was very bad at taking notes at the summit. I apologize. I was too busy going, ooh, what's this do? Ooh, what's that do? That was me. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna get all those 30 cards, which is gonna
free
help.
Too.
Yes,
we should mention
the Demon Hunter is free to everyone. You just have to play through the single player mode, unlock the Demon Hunter, you get the 30 card set, you're good to go.
Which, can we just take a second to throw a little bit of shade at Warcraft, because the intro campaign for the single player is going to tell Illidan's story from his perspective, which is basically what the novel was leading into the Legion expansion. So Hearthstone has now told more of Illidan's story in game than Warcraft did. Just saying. if you don't like Warcraft books, I like Warcraft books, so I'm okay with that. But it's not in game. Hearthstone is committed to Illidan and his story.
By the way, Joss, I'm gonna tack it on to the end of this episode. See what I did there? Tack it on. But I got to sit down with. I'm already forgetting names. No.
Oh, Garrett, you should have written it down.
So there were some hints And it was, Valerie Chu and Liv Breeden. I got to sit down with Valerie Chu and Liv Breeden at the summit. And that interview is already up over on YouTube at the time of saying this. So go to youtube.com/HeyMoveTV right now and go watch it. Please watch it. Even if you hear it on the podcast, please watch it because I spent like 4 hours editing this damn thing. So please go watch the video version. But they talk about how Illidan is not the most reliable of narrators and he may be a little biased as to his own story. So this may not be this may not be the canonical take on Illidan's journey, which if past Hearthstone writing is any indication, I'm really excited to see how ridiculous that gets. So yeah. But let's keep checking right along because we have a lot more of the initiate and the base set of Demon Hunter cards to talk about. I'm not going to talk about all of them because we have so many things to talk about today that it would just be impossible. But I do want to bring everyone's attention to token synergy that exists within Demon Hunter and the hero power synergy. But I want to start with tokens because I loved this archetype when I played it. And also, if nothing else, I think if you were even like kind of half paying attention to all the Demon Hunter cards that they saw, you would look at Wrathscale Naga and go, oh, okay, I'm paying attention now. And that's because Wrathscale Naga is a 3-mana, 3/1 epic Demon Hunter minion, part of the Initiate set, that reads, after a friendly minion dies, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So if you've been playing Battlegrounds, you are very familiar with the way that this mechanic works. And there's a lot of tokens spawning cards within Demon Hunter, like Command the Illidari, a 5-mana common spell that reads summon 6 1/1 Illidari with Rush. 6 1/1s for 5 mana that can attack this turn if there are minions on the board, enemy minions. So imagine Wrathscale Naga's on board, you play Command the Illidari. You're thinking, oh, my 1/1s aren't going to actually trade. Well, it doesn't matter because 3 random damage is hitting enemies and you're probably doing some damage. You might even get lethal because it could possibly, Wrathscale Naga's 3 random damage could possibly go face.
Yeah, this seems so strong. And I'm on the fence about whether or not I actually like this for all the reasons that I get frustrated in Battlegrounds and have been frustrated in Hearthstone since the get-go with Knife Juggler. Because it's like, you're always going to want it to go somewhere. So someone's always going to be disappointed. Like either me on the receiving end, I'm going to be like, don't hit that, don't hit that. And then of course it hits that. Or me on the giving end of all these juggles, I'm going to be like, yes, okay, hit him in the face one more time and I get lethal. Otherwise I die. And then it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm on the fence about just juggling effects in general because I feel like they just feel bad a lot of the time. So I'm so on the fence of how I feel about this because I think it's going to be really powerful. And it's not even friendly demons. It's not even like friendly if they had given the Illidari like their own tribe or anything like that. It's just literally friendly minions. So it's anything you've got on your board. You don't even have to play with these rushing 1/1s. Like you can, it's powerful, but you can create tokens in any of the other ways in the game there are to create tokens, and the Naga is going to start sniping. So this seems like, woohoo!
I have made peace with everything that bothers you that you just mentioned. I rather like juggler comps and Battlegrounds, and frankly, I just haven't seen that much Knife Juggler to remind me of how bad it feels when Knife Juggler doesn't work out. On either end, either when I'm playing him and it doesn't do what I want it to do, or when I'm going against one and it doesn't do what I want it to do. I was just kind of made peace with that because to me, it just feels powerful, and I like, or at least it has the potential to make me feel powerful, and that's enough for me. I think at a certain point. But yeah, anyways, a couple more token cards I wanted to mention. There are more than what I'm mentioning here, but I did want to highlight Umberwing, a 2-mana, 1-attack, 2 durability weapon with a battle cry that summons 2 1/1 Fellwings. So it's another way to get tokens out onto the board. And you might be thinking,
but they're not rushing. They're 2 1/1s that just show up.
Yeah. You might be thinking though, like, oh, 1/2 weapons, not that well, but you can add attack onto this weapon with your 1-mana hero power. That's also another thing to keep in the back of your mind for any Demon Hunter weapons you see. And then finally, actually, I think the reason you should be excited about tokens and not Wrathscale Naga is Feast of Souls, a 2-mana spell for Demon Hunters that reads, draw a card for each friendly minion that died this turn. Oh, shudder.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's.
I mean, altogether, like if we're looking at like Feast of Souls combined with Naga combined with Command the Illidari, like that's a 10 mana combo across 3 cards. Like, and there has to be enough on the board to actually kill all your 1/1s, which there might not be with all of your 3 damage juggles that you're going to be doing. So, I mean, it's big, it's powerful, but it's also expensive. So I'm kind of okay with this combo existing because I don't think we're going to see it too often. But yeah, all of these pieces together, just like it seems like a really, really powerful, kind of cool build.
Yeah, there's also a 3-mana spell that summons 3 1/1s with Rush. So if you need less mana,
that's true. Yeah,
for your Rascal Naga plays, it exists. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also I wanted to talk about minions and cards that synergize with your hero power. So I want to start with Clave Bound Adept. It's a 5-mana 7/4 with a battle cry that reads, if your hero attack this turn, deal 4 damage. 4 targeted damage. Where you want it to go, that's where it's going. Unless you're stealth or evasive. Or wait, that's evasive.
Is that a keyword yet?
No, it's not. No.
No.
Still not. We also got a twin spell. It doesn't say twin spell in this set, but we're not going to talk about that today.
Well, I think the whole idea of the twin spell is not a twin spell. Is, excuse me, because twin spells was an expansion specific keyword, right? So
but we're breaking rules, and also that's dumb.
And I guess discover is also a thing. So
yes. But Glaive Bound Adept, strong card. Also 7/4 for 5. Can we just talk about that on top of this? Your hero probably attacked this turn. Like, what does it ask of you? Have 1 extra mana.
Yeah.
1 extra mana to get the upside of this battle cry. That is good. Satyr Overseer is a 3-mana 4/2 demon that reads, after your hero attacks, summon a 2/2 Satyr. So this could actually potentially go in your token deck, because it's also making a token. But
it is making tokens, yeah.
It has a trigger based off of hero attacking. You have Blur, a 0-mana spell for Demon Hunters that reads, your hero can't take damage this turn. So if you really want to get super aggressive, you can. Also, there's a little bit of lifesteal in Demon Hunter as well. And then finally, Blade Dance, a 2-mana spell that reads, deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. And it's only random if there's more than 3.
That is true. So, I mean, combined with your hero power, this is just like arcane explosion almost. But it can ramp up to, man, just so much. I feel like there were just so many ways to, like, there's Demon Hunter weapons, the hero power just like increases that attack. Like it seemed like there were a lot of ways to increase the attack of your heroes. So I feel like Blade Dance is going to be fairly efficient removal, especially in the early game.
I overall just felt like I was cheating while I was playing the Demon Hunter. No, I'm serious. Like between like Outcast and the efficiency of the cost of the hero power, even though it only does 1 damage, what it empowers through synergy cards can get out of hand very quickly. There's it's really cool. It's really freaking cool. It has an air of rogue, but it feels all its own.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed.
I mean, with the token stuff, I even get shades of druid. Like, I mean, they've kind of combined a lot of things from other classes in a way that makes Demon Hunter feel unique, which I think is really cool. I'm also pretty stoked because, I mean, we never got actual, like, a Death Knight, like, hero class when Frozen Throne came out. We had hero cards, but they weren't their own class. And I think this kind of potentially opens the door for new heroes, which is something that we thought became less and less likely as Hearthstone kind of matured, because it was like, well, if we're going to be bringing in a new hero, what does that even look like? How many cards do we have to give them? You know, are we going to go back and edit all the sets to put their flavor cards in there as well? Like, we had so many questions. And I think now that we actually know what that looks like, I think it kind of opens the door for future potential in terms of adding different classes. And I think the design of Demon Hunter shows that they can make something feel unique within the Hearthstone universe, which just shows a huge amount of creativity, because I didn't really think that they were going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure. It wasn't even on my radar. Like I was certain we were just like not going to get an extra hero. And so, yeah, like I said, when they first announced it, I'm like, oh, cool. And then they showed the hero power, and I was like, it's all right. And then I played it, and I was like, never mind, it's great. It was like I went on this roller coaster along the way. So I'm legitimately excited for it, and I'm saying this as someone who has been like had his soul stolen by Battlegrounds. So I'm really excited to play Demon Hunter. We're gonna have more Demon Hunter cards to talk about when we get to the actual expansion, because Demon Hunters are also getting cards in the expansion. But before we move on with so much Hearthstone news, we have a sponsor to thank today, and that is Raycon. You may have heard us talk about them already. If you haven't, they make really freaking awesome wireless earbuds. The great thing though is that you don't need to drop hundreds of dollars. All you have to do is go give the wireless earbuds over at Raycon a look. You can go to buyraycon.com/TAC to check it out. Their latest model, by the way, the E25, it's got like 6 hours of playtime and has seamless Bluetooth pairing. Oh, Jocelyn has hers right here if you're actually watching on video. It has surprisingly good bass. I was reading, we get talking points for sponsors in case you're unaware. It was like good bass. I'm like, sure. And then I put it in. I'm like, oh, okay. And turn up the Post Malone. It's good stuff. I'm a big fan. So I got to put them through their paces when I went out to the Hearthstone Summit. And obviously I will not be traveling anytime soon. So now I'm putting them through my paces, drowning out my yippy chihuahuas, since I don't even leave my house on the weekends now.
Aw, poor chihuahuas.
I love them. I love them dearly. But I'm getting a lot more things delivered for reasons that should be obvious. So the dogs are barking at the door a lot more often. So more reasons to use my Raycon earbuds. So you should go check them out. I'm frankly impressed. You're pretty stoked on yours, right?
Oh yeah, no, I love mine. I I wear them at work quite often because I now work in an open office kind of setting without cubicle walls or anything, and we have like almost the phones are ringing so often it's almost like a call center. So just being able to kind of like tune that out, I can put them in and then I don't hear anything. So other than, of course, what I want to hear. And it doesn't matter if that's a podcast, if that's music, no matter what it is, it's like, that's all I hear. And they also sit in my ears very comfortably. And guys, I kind of have really weird ears. Earbuds tend not to actually be comfortable for me, but these are really comfortable. And I was surprised because I've also never owned wireless ones before, but they're really light. I forget that I have them in. I really, really enjoy them.
Yes, I was terrified I would lose them. They fit in my ears very well. And I had to run between gates when I was traveling last, so I didn't lose them. It was wonderful. So go check it out. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. You can get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/TAC. That's buyraycon.com/TAC for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Check them out. We thank them for their support. And now on to the Hall of Fame before we get to the expansion itself. There's just we're just bouncing around. We're having a good time.
There's so much.
There is a lot. There is a lot for sure. And so let's move the slide over to the Hall of Fame, because 5 cards, count them 5, are going to the Hall of Fame. Let's start with arguably the most famous card that's going away here, Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins is going to Wild. I was trying to think of what the name of the heaven in Lord of the Rings was, so I can make a Lord of the Rings reference, and I lost it at the 11th hour and pulled out of the nosedive of the reference I lost.
Leroy, I think, is one that a lot of people probably saw coming. I'll be honest, I'm surprised that we aren't seeing Boar also go alongside Leroy, just because Hearthstone is moving away from charge as a mechanic in general and in favor of rush. And I think that that's a good choice because, I mean, there's so many combos that we've seen, whether it was, Druid with Force of Nature, whether it was, Leroy's or Boars over in Rogue. Like there were all kinds of like OTK type combos or large damage combos. And how many times have you just taken a Leroy to the face and from a rogue and there's nothing you could do about it? Like Leroy, cold blood, shadow steppy nonsense. Like it was time, I think charge as a mechanic in general it's okay to move away from that now. I don't know. I was surprised that it was only Leroy, but I wasn't surprised it was Leroy.
All right, so I wasn't aware if I could mention this or not because I didn't think the card was revealed, but Celestalon is teasing the charge card that's in Ashes of Outland. There is a new charge card coming in Ashes of Outland. It is quite different.
Well, then
from
forget
Leroy.
Everything I just said.
I don't think it's been shown. The card is not revealed. Okay, all right, but it's okay that I tease it because I was literally, while you were talking, Jocelyn, thinking, is it okay if I tease that there's a charge card? I literally can't reveal it because I don't remember exactly what the card does. So I can't, like, I'm not shitting you. I can't spoil this, but yeah, I was wondering if I could allude to it. Yeah, there is one, I believe only one charge card coming in Ashes of Outland. It's good. It's good.
Well, then never mind. They're not moving away from charge. I'm just super duper wrong.
Yeah. Oh, apparently they teased that. They teased that there was a charge card, so it's okay to tease this. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But yeah, Leroy going bye-bye. I'm also surprised about Boar. I guess they want to just keep chasing Quest Rogue or future offenders. But yeah, also Mountain Giant. Mountain Giant is going by. This is another one. This is one that hasn't been a big offender to me recently. If anything, Sea Giant is more fresh in my memory for old giants that just keep finding their way back in the decks. But I also understand it because Mountain Giant keeps finding ways back into the game.
Yeah, and I think, Mage had Mountain Giant moments in the last little while as well. I mean, obviously, the example they gave on stream is the one that probably pops into everyone's head, which is, the Mountain Giants and Handlock and getting those out on turn 4. And, I understand the logic. I like the reasoning for this, but I'm with you. It really wasn't one that was on my radar as really problematic. It was the kind of thing that I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's just the thing that exists in the game. It comes in and out depending on, how powerful some of these classes are and what kind of synergies that they can find with the new expansion cards. But it's not like Mountain Giant on 4 was something that just always happened for the entire history of Hearthstone. So it wasn't a huge offender as far as I was concerned. But at the same time, like I say, it was just a kind of staple of Mage there for a little while. So it's come back. It's not only in Warlock, like it is a neutral card. So I understand, I think what Ixar was saying about how not all classes in Standard can actually deal with an 8/8 on 4. And, that becomes, it's almost like the popularity of Mountain Giant kind of goes away as we get more cards in Standard as each year progresses, because then more and more classes get more and more ways to deal with something like this. So, I can definitely see it. I understand the reasons. But yeah, Mountain Giant was not on my list.
Yeah, same. But what was on my list is Mind Control Tech, which is also on the Hall of Fame list for this year. It's a card I've used plenty of times. I in a way like it, but I'm also done with it. I'm done with Mind Control Tech, and I am happy for it to become a wild only card.
Yeah, I'm kind of, they already took it out of Arena, right? So the writing, I think, was on the wall for MC Tech a little bit this year. That's kind of why it was on my radar. I think it was like its biggest offense was when it was in Shutterwalk because of the double battle cry. Like, man, that the Shutterwalk stuff was just gross. But that's the last time I really, remember it being like super iconic in the meta. It was another one that kind of came in and came out, but it also was a big kind of offender. It never felt good. It, along the lines of everything I've said kind of about Juggler back when we were talking about Demon Hunters, is like, it always feels bad for one person. Like either it feels bad for the person on the receiving end because their good minion got stolen, or it feels bad for the person who's playing it because, you know, like they don't get the right minion. Like there's this huge swing of emotions depending on what MC Tech decided to do. And I understand the reasoning of like, they just don't really want to design cards like this anymore in standard. So I think, yeah, MC Tech and Knife Juggler might, you know, be time to go.
Well, Knife Juggler ain't going nowhere.
I know it's not going anywhere, but yeah.
Sorry.
I would apply the same sort of logic to Knife Juggler as I apply to MC Tech, that, you know, one person's really happy, one person's really sad every time it's played.
I think that's fair. Mind Control Tech is just so much more binary, whereas Knife Juggler, in a lot of cases, it is incremental in its effect on the board, whereas Mind Control is just, I'm taking a thing and someone's going to feel horrible about this exchange. Yeah. And then I want to talk about Acolyte of Pain and Spellbreaker kind of in the same breath. They are also going to the Hall of Fame, and makes a lot of sense, especially when you listen to the developers' comments at the summit itself. They said that like these were two cards that they were looking for kind of more class specific ways to bring these types of effects into the game, as opposed to these neutrals that just get reused and reused and reused and cause this feeling of staleness.
Mm-hmm. And I do like the point that they made about Spellbreaker, how Spellbreaker with a 4-mana 4/3 attached to this really powerful effect, how that was just kind of an auto-include type card. It was powerful on its own and it left behind quite a decent body. Whereas like you can still, there is still a neutral silence effect in Owl, but because the body is so weak, it very much feels like a choice that the player has to actively make. And it feels like it's got so much more weight because it's going to take up one or possibly even two of the slots in your 30 slot deck. So that to me, I thought was actually really interesting. It's like no one plays Owl right now because they have access to Spellbreaker in standard. But as soon as that goes away, then players have a really interesting decision to make. Like, do you take a weaker body just to have this silence effect? Or do you try to find maybe some class specific things that will help you deal with something that normally you would have just silenced away? Now, maybe you're trying to kill it. Maybe you're trying to put hard, like class specific removal in, but regardless of the choice that you make, it's going to make the entire game just kind of feel different. You don't have this kind of like, oh, there's big stuff with lots of buffs or death rattles or whatever in the meta, so I need a Spellbreaker. It's like, well, no, you need to figure out what way works best for you and your deck. So I think there's going to be a lot more variety.
I agree. I don't think Spellbreaker is close to an auto include in modern Hearthstone. Like, so I disagree with that in a way, but I agree that I agree and understand with it going to wild. It's time. And so really, honestly, Joss, what I want to know from you, because I'm sure we're going to come back to the Hall of Fame over the next few weeks as we lead up to the expansion launch. The one thing I really want to know right now is, what do you think dodged a bullet besides Knife Juggler? You're not allowed to say Knife Juggler. What are you surprised isn't going to the Hall of Fame?
I wasn't going to say Knife Juggler. Actually, I was going to probably say Edwin. And there's a really great thread on Twitter. I favorited it and I think I retweeted it too, from Celestalon, talking about all the reasons why they didn't actually move Edwin to the Hall of Fame. And I think that those reasons are all valid, but I do still think that there are some times when Edwin just feels really, really bad, and it can sometimes push Rogue down a specific kind of archetype path. So it's like there's some of the same concerns that they had with Priest, I think, can sometimes apply with Rogue. It's like, what's the go-to thing? Here's all the little cards. And it's been a huge like offender in Year of the Dragon because lackeys existed, and Rogue was one of the classes that had lackeys as its thing. So I think that we saw even more Edwin stuff because he was so powerful this year, which he's going to stay. That stuff rotates. So, you know, it won't be around forever like that. But yeah, Edwin, I was quite surprised. But there's a great thread from Celestalon, so you guys should go check that out on Twitter. And then other than Edwin and like some Rogue cards just generically, I think we had a conversation after was it maybe the World Championship? I think it was either Grandmasters World Championship. I can't remember, but basically it was like there was like Shadow Step, Vis, Edwin. I feel like there's 2 other cards, but there was like a set of like 5 cards that had been in every champion's winning decks for the entire history of Hearthstone. I'm like, that feels like it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Backstab.
A little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the kind of the whole of all the classes that I would have thought would have gotten changes, and we're going to talk about Priest in a couple minutes, but of all the classes that I thought might have seen changes through this whole Hall of Fame process, like Rogue was definitely in my at the top of my list, just because it felt like they hadn't really changed. And I think Priest ended up getting changed because they only ever kind of had one deck, whereas Rogue has this like core of Rogue cards that can be slotted into kind of anything that you're doing as a Rogue. And so those are kind of 2 different problems. And I think that they just thought that Priest was more problematic from a design perspective.
Yeah. Edwin was the big one for me. Boar was also on that list. And
Malagos, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Malagos. Thank you for reminding me of one that's been on my list for a while. But I was
got you.
they haven't talked about why they didn't pick Malagos though. And I don't know why they didn't pick Malagos, because it didn't strike me when I had a chance to ask.
It's probably, if I had to guess, it's that like, yes, he's neutral, but he's also kind of part of those original iconic dragons, and he comes and goes, and the deck that he enables is very, very, very specific. And I think you can, like, I mean, I'm thinking of Malagos Druid off the top of my head with like the Moonfires and stuff. There was also, like, so that's the deck that just like pops into my head when I think of like problematic Malagos stuff. But it's like, that's one specific class with, spells again that are class specific. And it's not like every single class can build a Malagos deck and it's instantly powerful. So I kind of understand. And I think that if they're careful with card design in the expansions going forward, like as long as they keep Malagos in mind, then we won't necessarily end up with these Malagos decks over and over and over again. All of that being said, if he's limiting card design, that's also a problem. So maybe something that will get looked at next year. Who knows? I was kind of surprised about Malagos.
Yeah, Malagos and Edwin for me are big kind of personal things. Like they are the 2 cards I am the sickest of losing to. Like I never want to see high damage Moonfires again, ever. Like I'm just done with it. I've seen it enough times, and I feel like
Priest is the other offender, right? With Mind Blast and Velen, but all of that stuff is gone now too.
Yeah,
so.
And Edwin being a class legendary is one of the reasons given in that Celestalon thread that you mentioned. I'm like, well, you dealt with Velen. Granted, that's a much larger like class overhaul. And clear, like, is clearly very targeting. Clearly, like a lot of work went into that to approach it from multiple different angles and shore up Priest where they were removing tools. I mean, who knows how time will tell how successful they are with that, but whatever the case is. Yeah. I am aware that those are pretty personal feelings for me. Malagos, I feel, is personal. Really, Edwin, I disagree, but trust them, if that makes sense. Because I've really been happy with the direction of Hearthstone. Like the big black mark for me is Evolve. Like and overall, I like that event. I want them to do that again. Just to change it if something is terrible, which bringing Evolve back was. Other than that, like I'm super stoked on basically everything they've done. And so in that regard, like I am happy to just say, no, I don't agree with any of this, but I trust you. Let's see how it goes. So, but I swear to God, Jocelyn, if I have to sit through one more expansion where we get to a point where I go, oh, I'm listening to Edwin again. I'm going to, you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it.
Yeah. And well, and I mean, like we said, off the top of the show, talking about the Demon Hunter hero power and how they're breaking the mold. I mean, there's nothing to say that they can't Hall of Fame at different points of the time in the standard year. So, I mean, maybe,
which they have before. With
Which they have, yeah, true.
Ben and Gaku? Gen and Baku.
Yeah.
Ben and Gaku will
So,
be
yeah, I think
the balanced versions of those cards coming in the future.
but those decisions, I think, are not necessarily off the table. So I think if they get to the point where they're trying to design something that would totally break Edwin, I think Edwin's just out, and that's okay. And then finally, chat room has reminded me, Elvix, thank you so much. Auctioneer. Man,
yeah,
I'm surprised that one hasn't been an offender lately, but man, oh man.
It has been, I think, a notable amount of time. Compared to something like Edwin or Malagos. Like I get Auctioneer. Like I get why you're mentioning it, because yes, it's when it was going off, it was legendary, even though it's a rare. And yet it has been quite some time since Auctioneer has really been a problem.
Yeah, no, it definitely has been. It's not one of the more recent offenders, but I would feel like Auctioneer would be kind of fall into the same category as Acolyte of Pain, where, you know, it's neutral card draw. You do have to do something very specific that some classes are going to be better at than others. Like some classes are just going to have a whole lot more low cost spells. I mean, Miracle Rogue, as long as Auctioneer's around, is always going to be a thing. We saw Druid kind of abuse Auctioneers as well a little bit, but you know, it's gone now in terms of like it hasn't been prevalent in the meta recently. So maybe that's why, like, it's the kind of thing again that rotates in and out of popularity, but like so is Mountain Giant. So I don't know. I would think that those would all be cards that they probably looked at and decided that given their plans for the upcoming standard year, those cards are going to be fine. But then the Leroys and Mountain Giants of the world just didn't fit into the design for Year of the Phoenix. So, which I don't even think we've mentioned yet. It's Year of the Phoenix.
Yeah, sorry, Jocelyn. Another year without the unicorn.
Another year without unicorns. And honestly, I mean, how long has this been now? Literally since the very first announcement of Year of the Kraken, because the Year of the Kraken image had the unicorn like up next if they moved clockwise. Like that's where all this came from, guys. If you are new to TAC, that's where Year of the Unicorn came from. I didn't make it up. I don't just love, I mean, I love unicorns. Who doesn't love unicorns? But I didn't just like say, this is my favorite animal, we have to have it. It was in an image.
I feel like we're still talking about it because it's your favorite animal and we have to have it.
Well, I mean, maybe, but
I mean,
the point is that wasn't where it originally came from.
You never asked me what I want. You never asked me what my favorite animal is. Okay. And that's why I, for one, am now going to begin campaigning for Year of the Penguin.
Okay.
Because it has to happen. We need it. We need it. Not Puffin. You've already got a Puffin on the dev team. Year of the Penguin. Puffin doesn't count. Has to be a penguin. Puffins are cute.
Has to be a penguin. All right. Yeah. And Celestalon, you were just straight up wrong. There are unicorns in WoW. So don't even.
I mean, I don't think you call them unicorns, but
they're not technically called unicorns, but it could be Year of the, oh man, what are they called? They have a name, but they exist. You can mount them.
It's what I use as your art when there's one. It's card art in Hearthstone. It's what I use whenever you're sick and you don't want to show yourself on camera.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, we're not done with
Dream Runners. That's it.
We are not done with Hall of Fame,
Coursers.
by the way. We're not done with Hall of Fame because priest cards are going to Hall of Fame. Whew, are you ready for this one? Northshire,
I don't know, man.
Northshire Cleric, Divine Spirit, Holy Fire, Prophet Velen, Shadow Form, and Akanai Soul Priest are all going to the Hall of Fame as part of the priest overhaul.
Yeah, it was time for Divine Spirit. Period. It was time for sure. Like Cleric too. Yeah, Cleric was super iconic. That was their go-to turn one play forever. But I feel like Divine Spirit was just limiting design space so much, and that was just the thing that they did forever.
Yeah, just Divine Spirit, I would have been like, oh, thank God. It's like, don't need to see it anymore. I've seen it enough times. I'm good.
Yeah.
It feels like wild in standard. That's how Divine Spirit priests feel. Northshire, I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised it didn't just get like nerfed in some way, or like the card text changed, because Mana Worm got nerfed to the point where we really just don't see it anymore, but it is still part of the basic classic set. And that it's a 1 mana minion that's class specific. All I can do is think about Mana Worm when I see Northshire. But at the same time, Northshire is a card I like because I like card draw, and it is effective card draw, so I can go visit it in Wild anytime, and I don't need to worry about it being essentially rendered useless like Mana Worm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rest of this is very much class identity. Holy Fire, like, yeah, when was the last time someone Holy Fired you? It's been a while for me. But it was back in like Velen Malagos shenanigans time. yes, yeah. Same thing goes for Velen, Shadow Form, even Akanai Soul Priest. Like, these are all ways for priests to damage you in the face from hand, and that's just not what they want priests to do anymore. Yeah. And I believe it comes up in the interview that's over on YouTube right now, but they mention, because I even asked them, like, hey, how is Shadow manifesting as priest now? And they were like, through like stealing your opponent's cards. That's kind of Shadow in Hearthstone now. They're okay. You know, that's not going away, but that is also now kind of the classification of like Shadow type effects for priest in Hearthstone. Because I was curious about that, because that's an important part of flavor of priest, is that there's the balancing act of holy and shadow. So well, yeah, that kind of is how the entire class is defined in Warcraft, right? Is this whole, like, they cover the gamut of light to void, all the way from shadow through discipline into holy. So I mean, to take away the basically damage spec of priest, because if you look over at Warcraft, where all this stuff kind of comes from, you've got 2 healers and 1 damage dealer in terms of your choice of how you want to play priest. So to take away the idea of like face damage from priest in Hearthstone, you have to kind of have a way to incorporate that voidy shadow feeling. And I like the idea of like deathy stuff, and I like the idea of like raising things, and I like the idea of stealing things and mind controlling things. All of that stuff fits really with the shadow fantasy, and so I'm glad that they're not just like, well, no, priests are healers, duh. It's like, well, no, they're actually quite iconic in the kind of void shadow damage side too. So I mean, I think that they're staying true to what priests are, while still making them different and not trying to do everything. Because I think the doing of everything is part of what made priests so hard to design cards for. I think that's fair. And they were also, I mean, they struggled for a long time, right? And then when they finally kind of found their foothold, they stayed the same for basically forever once they actually found a good archetype. So but that's, you know, they're not just losing cards. There are replacement cards coming in and pretty major balance updates. Before we talk about what's replacing the cards that are leaving, let's talk about the cards that are staying but changing. Power Word Shield. A lot of these, by the way, I think could be argued that it's a buff, but Power Word Shield is straight up getting nerfed. This is a nerf. It's now 0 mana, reads give a minion +2 health. The draw mechanic is gone. Yeah. I'm not interested in this card anymore. Which I think is a good thing, because that was another, like, Cleric Power Word Shield was another thing that was just like straight up, this is default priest. And I think they're trying to move away from a lot of that stuff, but yeah. Power Word Shield, this is good. Yep. Shadow Word Death is going down to 2 mana to destroy a minion with 5 or more attack. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, a lot of these were either increasing of damage but removing the ability to go face, or lowering mana costs in some cases. So making them more easily playable, less expensive, kind of bringing priest in line with where a lot of the other classes are. Yeah, or increasing damage but changing where that damage can go in the case of Holy Smite, which is still 1 mana, but it deals 3 damage, but only to a minion. It can only deal damage to a minion now. It cannot go face. Which is in line with what they're trying to do with class identity for priest. Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, years from now, like 7 years from now, Jocelyn, are we going to look at like the damage cards that exist for priests over in Wild and be like, it's crazy over there, y'all. That is so unlike anything they can do. Which also excites me, because that's what I want Wild to feel like. Also, Holy Nova. Holy Nova is going down to 4 mana and now reads deal 2 damage to all enemy minions, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. It does not do damage to your enemy's face. Only their...
It does heal your face still, though.
It does heal your face, yeah. Friendly characters. And also, I love that this card is now just a really good example of what the difference is between characters and minions.
Yes.
Yeah, so it does heal your face. It does not hurt your opponent's face. I dig this. I like how much card text I am starting to see on Hearthstone cards. They're a little less afraid of a lot of card text.
Explaining themselves?
A little less. They're still a little weird in ways that I disagree with, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's a minor thing. It's always a minor thing that I will make a mountain out of. But Shadow Madness is now going to cost 3. Reads gain control of an enemy minion with 3 or less attack until end of turn. So, really no change on its effect. Actually, no change on its effect. Just costs 1 less mana. So, buff to Shadow Madness. Temple Enforcer. Changing a decent amount. It's going down 1 mana to 5. And it's a 5/6 instead of a 6/6. Still reads give a friendly minion plus 3 health. And then finally, Thought Steal. The change is that it now costs 2 instead of 3. And it does what it always does, what it has always done, which is copy 2 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. Just costs 1 less mana to do that now.
So shadowy.
So shadowy is what we're going to have to start saying, apparently. So, yeah, so there's that. Like I said, a lot of these arguably buffs. I mean, if you were really, I don't know, attached to that 1 attack on Temple Enforcer, then I guess it's a nerf, but also I can't remember the last time I've seen a Temple Enforcer. I'm really excited about Shadow Word Death. I've always liked Shadow Madness. I like that it's cheaper. And Holy Nova, I think you could have an interesting discussion there because it doesn't go face anymore. But, 4 mana for a 2 damage, board AoE that also does healing and heals your board. I still think Holy Nova is a fantastic spell.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as much as it is changed and there's an argument for it being nerfed, I don't think it's the kind of thing that this change is going to make it so that we never see it. Yeah. I think Priest will still play it.
Yep. And then let's talk about the cards that are replacing the Priest cards that are going to the Hall of Fame. First new card is called Psychic Conjurer. It's a 1 mana 1/1 with a battle cry that reads, copy a card in your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. So in a way, it's card generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see, but like Northshire Cleric, you are not Psychic Conjurer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, card generation on 1 mana, I'm not disinterested in, but like 1/1, man, that's where I go. I can't even heal you up.
Yeah.
Unless I buff you.
Yeah, you can buff though.
Yeah, but then like. So Cold Tyrant Chaplain is another replacement card, a 2 mana 2/3 with Battlecry, give a friendly minion plus 2 health. Cool. I built a 1/3 if I'm putting this on Psychic Conjurer. I'm so excited. I'm kidding. I'm not excited.
You can also Power Word Shield, right? Because Power Word Shield is free.
No.
So you can build a...
Power Word Shield was deleted from the game, Jocelyn. I know they didn't word it that way, but it's been deleted from the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that card is bad. Watch it. It's going to be like some weird linchpin of some like spell trigger priest that I'm not seeing coming, and I'm going to have to eat those words. Power Infusion, another replacement spell, 4 mana. Give a minion plus 2, plus 6. I like this one, actually. I like this spell. And
yeah, I like this spell too. I like this spell, especially in a world where Divine Spirit's not standard anymore.
Yes,
this is great.
Yes. This is a glowing example of why certain cards or how certain cards limit design space. And so like in a single news post, oh, Divine Spirit's going away. Oh, look at this card that's being added. Because if you added this and didn't take out Divine Spirit, could you imagine Reddit? I mean, they're mad anyway. But like, yeah, you couldn't do this. We're done with it. We wouldn't be able to have this type of effect otherwise. And then there's 3 more still to go. Scarlet Subjugator is another 1 mana minion coming in for Priest with it's a 1 mana 2/1 with a battle cry that reads, give an enemy minion -2 attack until your next turn.
I like these kind of Priest effects a lot. I like the idea of removing, like debuffing your opponent, kind of like removing their ability to be as powerful as they were before. I don't know. I love the flavor of this.
It's something
I think this is a great idea.
It's something we've seen over the history of the class. This
Yeah.
type of effect. It's popped up a few times, and does seem to be, to me, the kind of thing that you could keep around in the classic and basic set, you know, and have priests have access to it all the time. I don't think it's the type of thing that has to live within an expansion and an expansion only. So yeah, I think it's a good tool. Again though, like it feels weird for this is an aggressively statted minion, like in its priest, and I don't know why. Why isn't it a 1/2? That to me is odd, because to me that's, I know they haven't stated it, but to me, like class identity for priest is more health than attack.
I think traditionally, yes, there's a lot of high health minions, because the idea in priest is that you want to kind of use your, I mean, if I'm thinking of it again in a strictly like WoW sense, then if I'm the priest, I want to, in 2 out of 3 cases, my plan is to keep my party as healthy as possible so that they can stick around and defeat my opponent. I, the priest, don't necessarily want to do anything to the opponent. I want to make sure that my party is staying alive and able to defeat the enemy. So there's kind of like this removal, this between you and your opponent, like you aren't actually hurting them directly. You're keeping your board around in order to overpower them over time. And so I'm with you there, that I think the stats on this minion are a little bit not what I would expect necessarily from priest, but I think with the like, as much as we talked about, even with the, oh shoot, what was the new card that you just mentioned that gives health? The 2-mana one.
Kultiran Chaplain.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him from the
Yeah, so you could you could turn it into a 2/3 kind of quite easily with some of the buff stuff that they seem to be pushing towards. And I think the -2 battle cry kind of allows it to potentially stick around, because you know your opponent plays a minion and then you go, okay, this is only a 2/1, but here your minion now has 0 attack. This is safe until I can buff it the next turn. Like I can see that as a potentially viable priest opener with these new cards. So
yeah, but we also got one more class that can do 1 damage all the time guaranteed.
That also is true.
Yeah, there are already classes that could do damage guaranteed every turn, and now there's one more class that can. And so also, plus I'm not excited about dropping this on 1. Like they may not even have a minion yet. I'm getting nothing out of that battle cry.
That's true.
And if I go on second, like it's a flame imp, but the flame imp still trades with this. It's I don't know. I'm not over the moon with Scarlet Subjugator. And I'm failing to see an obvious early plan for priest at the moment.
Yeah.
And also, or a way to use their hero power at all, because none of these minions have any damn health. No. I'm super skeptical about this priest thing, but that's, I mean, this is the kind of thing that you need time with. You need to build a deck with. You need to build multiple decks with, and actually take it out on the ladder and see how it fares. So, plus there's an expansion coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cards about to be injected.
Yeah, I feel like a big, huge caveat of most of what we're going to talk about going forward in this episode is like, there's a rotation and an expansion coming. So it's hard to judge these changes when we don't have the full picture.
Yep. Anyways, Shadow Word Ruin, another new priest spell, going to cost you 4 mana, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. Ooh, hell yeah. Love this.
Yeah, this is like so good.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this is priest as hell.
I am on board. Yeah.
They have had very strong board clear across all of Hearthstone. Clearly the team is happy with them to still continue that, continue giving them those tools, and that being a part of the class identity. Shadow Word Ruin totally lands in that spot. And you might be wondering, well, who the hell is replacing Prophet Velen? Natalie Celine. I have no idea who this character is. It's a miss for me, but it's a 8 mana, 8/1 with a battle cry that reads, destroy a minion and gain its health. This is cool.
This is like almost the same as Vol'jin, right? Vol'jin traded health with the other minion, so the other minion didn't straight up die. But the other minion ended up with 2 health, right? So then it was usually pretty easy to get rid of whatever that was. So this is like Vol'jin on steroids. This is like, get rid of the minion completely. Don't worry about leaving it behind, even with low health. Like, you don't have to deal with it in any other way. That minion is just gone, and now you have absorbed its life essence or something. Again, shadowy as all get out.
Yep. Apparently, she's a follower from Legion. Thank you, Kashitar.
Oh, okay.
Didn't really.
I was like, the name sounds like sort of familiar, but
barely scratched the surface of the Priest Overhaul campaign. Barely. But yeah, I like this card a lot. And these last 2, Shadow Word Ruin, Natalie Celine. Yes, into this. Sign me up. And so that's your major Priest overhaul. Again, this is another thing I feel like is going to creep into conversation on the Angry Chicken in the near future. Also, if everything goes according to plan, we'll have a guest next week. I have a feeling this will probably come up. So
yes.
Yeah. And also, and this is another thing that we were definitely going to dive into at a later date because there's so much to chew on, but the roadmap. We saw a roadmap, which, where have I heard someone talk about a Hearthstone roadmap before? I can't think of anyone.
Can't quite put your finger on it.
No, I'm waiting for
Let me give you a hint, Garrett. It was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Yeah, you're just a little late. You claimed
I thought it would be BlizzCon.
Yeah, we would see one at BlizzCon, and I said you're crazy. We're never going to see a roadmap. Blizzard doesn't do roadmaps, and you were right. You were just late being right.
Yeah, I was ahead of the curve. I was before my time. I really thought, because we'd seen so many other like games as a service, especially the later that they get into their life cycle, start to give fans an idea of where they are heading. And so I was really expecting this at BlizzCon to be part of their big announcement, but I am super happy that we are getting to see this now, because guys, there is so much stuff in there. It's crazy. And so it looks like each phase goes with a different expansion. And if you haven't seen this roadmap, you can go check out our video on YouTube, or there's also a blog post, Year of the Phoenix blog post over on the Play Hearthstone website. Link is in our show notes. There's so much stuff. Guys, there's a brand new game mode in this roadmap.
Yeah, new game mode. It's like, it's nutty. All this being said, they were kind of vague about most of this on the stream, and they were also vague about it at the summit. So, yeah, I don't know how excited to get about that new game mode.
I mean, if it's anywhere near as exciting and successful as Battlegrounds, like I'm gonna have to stop playing every other game, because I'm just gonna be like, okay, Hearthstone is my life now. Yeah, I'm trepidatious, and it's for reasons you probably don't think. It's like Battlegrounds was so good that I'm like, could it really be as good as Battlegrounds? Could it really? I've gone completely past losing all hope for a tournament mode. That's not the reason I'm not excited for this. It's that Battlegrounds was so good. I'm just like, oh shoot, there's actually a lot to live up to, which previously there wasn't. Like, Hearthstone had like one major raging success mode. And it had Arena, which has a very successful community, albeit smaller. But like, for a lot of us, Standard was Hearthstone, and like, a lot of us who really like Standard were hoping for a tournament mode, and just kind of had our hearts broken. But now we've had Battlegrounds, which is just a runaway success. So much so that they're now pseudo charging for it, which we'll talk about way later in the show. Yes, there are things to talk about there for sure.
Yeah. So there's all of that. But yeah, we're when we have a light week, we're gonna dive into this deep and go super skeptical town.
Yeah, this could literally be a show all of its own. So, like I said, go check it out. There's a blog post. There's, I think, a YouTube video too, introducing all the concepts. There's the Year of the Phoenix, like expansion kind of teaser image that we've started to get every year. So go and check all that out. We're going to dive into it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We will, when we come back around to this, we have to eat dinner at some point
eventually
today, but it is not this hour. It's not this hour. Before we move on, talk about ladder changes and get to the expansion, we have one more sponsor to thank today, and that is MeUndies. We really are giant fans of MeUndies and love talking about our underwear publicly, and we know you do too. I just got some elephants, Jocelyn. My underpants are covered in elephants, and they sent me a matching pair of socks.
Honestly, dude, I am so disappointed in myself right now. There was so much Hearthstone news going on today that I didn't realize the last set of MeUndies that I got, I actually purposely haven't worn because I wanted to show you. They are the greatest thing ever. They are covered in bowls of noodles, and they just say send nudes.
N-O-O-D-S. Yes, I got them as well.
Okay.
I got them as well.
I was like, I really want to show them, but they're upstairs.
They're amazing. They're just the best. Very recently, I saw that joke. I saw a sticker. It was a bowl of ramen, and it said "Send nudes" N-O-O-D-S on the back of someone's Miata at a car show. And I am usually not one to be extremely amused by bumper stickers, but I had a hearty laugh about that one. And then I'm not kidding. Like a week later, an envelope of underwear showed up, and I got the send nudes for underwear. So my butt now says send nudes. It's great.
Yeah,
it's right. Great. Noodles, send noodles. I don't know what you're thinking of. I don't know what you're thinking of, listener home. But go check out MeUndies. Seriously, it's so much fun to riff and make jokes about underwear because it's underwear and it's your butt. Like, who doesn't want to make jokes about butt? But seriously, they're so comfortable. And if you're not into bright, ridiculous patterns and stuff like that, they have tons of standard options for colors. They also have bright colors if you don't want patterns. If you want to be a little adventurous in your color choice, but not in pattern choice, that's also an option. And again, just the softest, most comfortable damn underwear. Also, when they send me socks, are really comfortable too. I've ever had. And the pajama pants. It's finally warm here again, so I'm not wearing them as much. But at night, when the AC is nice and low, still putting them on because they're so freaking comfortable. So go check them out because you can get 15% off your first pair. You're also going to get free shipping. You're also going to get a 100% satisfaction guarantee when you go to MeUndies.com/TAC. Support the companies that support the Angry Chicken. It helps us, keep the lights on, pay the bills, spend 11 hours preparing a podcast episode because there's literally so much news to talk about. You're actually having a little bit of an anxiety attack about covering the video game that you were doing a show about. Check it out.
Garrett's fine.
MeUndies.com/TAC. And now, Jocelyn, are you ready? Are you ready to talk about one of the biggest changes of Hearthstone ever in an episode where we're talking about multiple biggest changes of Hearthstone ever? A ladder revamp is coming.
Again.
We're not even to the expansion yet.
I know. You were telling me this was going to be a 3-hour show, and I was like, no way. We can do this in 2 hours. It'll be fine. We're almost at our full show time, and we still have ladder changes, new expansion, and today was patch day. So there's Battlegrounds news.
We wasted, and we just
we'll be here forever.
We spent a minute recapping everything we just did, and we still have to do. So.
I know, I'm sorry. Ladder changes!
It's giving me a hard time. And this is coming April 1st. This is study up, everybody, because if you want to know if you should go hit the ladder or not, here is everything you need to know about the ladder revamp. We're going bronze to diamond. We are joining all the other Blizzard games that have ranked modes, and we're getting bronze through diamond. Legend remains, and it essentially is the same that it has always been. By the way, at the top of diamond is legend. So now the best way do I explain this? You think I would have wrote this down, but I started to, and I couldn't decide how I wanted to explain it. I just figured, screw it. Let's just talk to each other like the podcasters that we are. So you have ranks and you have leagues. Your league is your bronze, your silver, your gold, your platinum, your diamond. Your rank is your number within that league, because bronze, you're going to start at bronze 10 and you can go up to bronze 1. And if you rank all the way up through bronze 1, bam, silver 10. So that's your bronze. Saying your bronze is saying your league, saying your bronze 5 is saying your rank within bronze. And so, there's 10 ranks for each league, and each rank has
3 stars each rank.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And so the way that it is going to work now is at the end of every season, at the end of every month, when the first of the month ticks over, we are all, every single one of us, Jocelyn, no matter how high we have climbed, from the highest Grandmaster to the lowest, oh crap, I played too much Arena and Battlegrounds this month, we are all getting reset to Bronze 10.
Yes.
But there's a catch. There's a new mechanic. There's a couple new mechanics.
There's a couple of things. Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Yeah. So you might be thinking, every rank has 3 stars, and that is, it does not give a crap if you are diamond or bronze, 3 stars per rank. Deal with it.
Yeah, so 150 stars you have to earn in total to get to legend.
Yeah. But you can get bonus stars. And this is why you're going to want to climb each season, because the higher you climb, the more bonus stars you are going to get. If you hit legend, you're going to get 11 bonus stars. That's the maximum.
Right. And so your bonus stars are actually a multiplier. So if you're a legend player and you have a multiplier of 11 from the previous season, that means when you win a normal game, you would normally get 1 star, but then you multiply that by 11, so you get 11 stars. And then if you're on a win streak, you take that 11 and you multiply it by the number of stars that you would normally get, which would be 2. So you're getting 22 stars as a legend player on a win streak in the first set of ranks, because your multiplier will decrease every 5 ranks. So when you, every time you cross that threshold from 6 into 5, then you'll go down 1. And then same when you go from 1 to 10 of the next highest league, then you'll also lose 1 of your multipliers. So every 5 ranks, your multiplier goes down by 1.
Yeah. It's also a good time to mention that there are now a lot more ranked floors, because it's at 10 and 5 of every league. So bronze, you hit bronze 5, that's your first ranked floor. Cool. You hit silver 10, you can't drop back below that. Silver 5, now you can't drop back below silver 5. So 10, 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, ranked floors all the way up to diamond 5.
Yes.
Which is super cool. I like that a lot.
Honestly, it's so much for me to kind of like process. I feel like these ladder changes are the kind of thing that I'm just going to need to see in motion, because the second part of this that they announced today is the matchmaking changes. So we are all going to have a hidden MMR. We have no idea how that's calculated. We have no idea any information about it, except that I think based on their comments from today, it sounds like it's going to somehow be based on your previous season's rank, because they did say that when everyone gets smooshed back down to bronze 10, that people who are bronze players are not going to be coming up against like legend players, because that was one of the big problems when we had the big, huge reset, like way back in the day, was that you would get all of these players from, you know, the ranks 5 all the way up through legend, getting reset back down to, you know, 16 and 17. And then people who actually belonged at 16 and 17 were playing against legend players, and that felt really bad. So they've done something behind the scenes now to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. So even though everybody will get smooshed back down, you're going to still play against people of your same MMR.
Yes.
Whatever, however they figure that out.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be based on your win, your loss.
Win-loss rate.
I hope we get a blog at some point, because I'm curious, like, if it,
I'm sure we will.
Does it have a luck factor? Because like, if I just keep getting totally screwed by draws, is it like, okay, well, he usually plays with this kind of, but we kind of boned him with a couple of terrible top decks.
We boned him.
So we're gonna adjust his MMR accordingly. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm kind of curious if it's gonna make it feel a little more grindy, or if it doesn't matter because of the multiplier you get from your bonus stars. Because like, bronze 10, now I'm essentially fighting the same skill of players anywhere I am, regardless of what's going on, because of MMR, if the system works as advertised, right? And so like, my brain goes, well, crap, what if it's like really even games? And again, I'm like, how long am I going to be sitting at bronze 10? But like, if I win 1, whatever my, you know, if I have like 5 bonus stars, you know, I'm going up in the bronze 9 pretty quickly, 8 pretty quickly. You just need to like win 1 and you're like jumping up entire ranks, right? And so Yeah, I'm with you. I need to see it. I need to play it. And, this on paper, I think I like it. I have some reservations.
Yeah, so I think the other piece of this, which I haven't seen mentioned anywhere, and Garrett, maybe you can shed some light here, but in terms of losses, your multiplier doesn't apply to your losses, right? So
No, not at all.
Okay, so when you lose, you go back 1 star. Correct. So, you're getting these big, huge, when you win, you're getting these big, huge jumps. When you lose, you're going back 1, which I think is going to do wonders for my ladder anxiety. So I am excited just straight up for that.
Yeah. They just want you to play the game. Like that'd be so punishing if the multiplayer worked in both directions.
Well, that's essentially how it works right now, right? Like you go up 1 or down 1. Like there's essentially just a multiplier of 1, but the ratio of stars you gain to stars that you lose for winning and losing is the same. That's always been my problem, is that it feels so bad when you like get screwed by a draw or something. Then you feel like you lose this big chunk of progress. But now you're going to have these like differences in win and loss. It's going to feel like you're on a win streak like all the time. And when you're actually on a win streak, it's going to be like stars everywhere, fireworks. Yeah, you're winning.
yeah, absolutely. So it should feel pretty damn good to just keep slamming games. This really just asks you to play the game, because it does feel like there's probably a little too many ranks to have to go through. But at the same time, if you're working with this multiplier, it shouldn't take that long.
Mm-hmm.
I
think 150 stars, and when you look at the graphic, it's overwhelming with the number of ranks that there actually are. But I think when you actually get in there and start playing some games and see how quickly you're going to get to a place that you probably belong on the Hearthstone, or in the Hearthstone League, I guess we can call it now. I think it's going to feel okay. It's going to feel different. And I think we're going to kind of all get on board with this, and it's not going to end up being as grindy as we think, because legend players essentially have a multiplier all the way up through Diamond. By the time they get to Diamond 5 through 1, I think their multiplier is only 2. So, they're getting 2 stars or 4 stars if they're on a win streak, because win streaks go all the way through to legend, right?
That I don't know, actually.
Oh, okay. I just kind of assumed that they did.
It fell off at 5, and it falls off at 5 in the system we're currently in.
Right. But there isn't really an equivalent to 5 in this system, unless you think of it as, I guess, Diamond would be like 1 to 5 rank.
I think that,
Now equivalent, kind of. But I think that because they didn't say anything, I would assume win streaks just kind of go all the way through.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, unless Celestine's still hanging out in the chat room, wants to throw us a bone.
Yeah, if anyone wants to help us out.
That one I have not seen clarified anywhere or had it clarified to me, so I don't know. But anyway, moving on. You might be curious about rewards. They're getting better. You're going to get card packs, epics, rares. Also, the first time you hit a rank breakpoint, you're just going to get cards. They said this was obviously targeted more at new players, but the first time you hit a rank floor or a rank breakpoint, so you could move from bronze to silver, silver to gold, gold to platinum, you're going to get cards immediately.
Yeah. And so, they did say that the chest is getting better. And I think that the chests are rewarded every 5 ranks. And then on top of that, which I thought was really cool, and I can't believe it's never been a suggestion that I've really thought of, but the idea that as soon as you get your 5 wins in a month, you earn your card back. It was always really funny that card back was kind of like locked away in the chest for the entire month. So they're taking the card backs out of the chest, and instead what you're going to do is you're going to get those card backs as soon as you get your 5th win in a month. So you can start showing people right away, oh, hey, look, I've already done all my play. I've already gotten my wins this month. Like, a little bit of flex there.
Yeah. And they even gave a list of like exactly what you're going to get in terms of like how high you climb dictates like what kind of pack you get.
Yeah.
Like Plat 5 gives you 2 random standard rare cards, but Diamond 10 gives you 1 latest expansion pack. Same goes for Legend. Diamond 5, you get 1 random standard epic card. There's all kinds of interesting things like that are very specific to how high you climb in terms of rewards. Mm-hmm. And it's all on the official site if you want to see the full table for yourself.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of card packs that are kind of on the table here. I mean, you've got latest expansion pack, 2 randoms, 2 randoms, 2 randoms. And yeah, so I mean, There's so many packs that are available now through just playing the game, through leveling up on the ladder. I think it's definitely worth playing. Like, yeah, look at that graphic. It's insane. Look at all those rewards. That's nowhere near what we're currently getting.
The current rewards are lame. I'm just putting it out there. And they look.
And yeah, they are for our audio listeners. They are cumulative, so you do get all of them. So
it's nice. There's a lot of stuff
when
up
you
for
get
grabs.
to Legend, look at that. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
There's a beautiful fanning out of loot. Smiley face emoji.
Yeah, smiley face emoji for sure. And this, like we mentioned, is launching April 1st. So the next season will start with this new ladder system.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. So start climbing so you get all your bonus stars, y'all. Get in there. You know you want to do it. All right, Jocelyn.
Yep.
We made it. It is finally time to talk about the actual expansion itself, Ashes of Outland.
Oh my God.
It is launching April 7th, by the way. So it is
so soon.
Just 3 weeks away.
This is when my quarantine ends.
Yes. The card reveal season is going to be fast and furious. We're going to know too many cards too quickly to cover them on the show. But yeah, there's just a lot. We're going to Outland. Makes sense since the Demon Hunter is getting added. That's when we chase down Illidan back in the Burning Crusade in World of Warcraft. Before we get into the cards, let's get it out of our system. Jocelyn, I am having a lore-gasm over this expansion, the cards, the art, the characters that are involved. And granted, I like Hearthstone's original characters. I like the League of Explorers. I like the League of Evil. But after an entire year of hanging out with them, I am really legitimately excited to just have like a Warcraft-ass Hearthstone expansion.
Yeah, I am completely on board with you there. And I think that my favorite expansions in Hearthstone tend to pull very heavily from Warcraft, but then have their own spin on it. Like Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, I think, is a really good example where it's like there were lots of iconic characters, but then they brought in their own kind of stuff. Same idea with like Frozen Throne is another one that I really enjoyed, where like that just like straight up ripped like Lich King things from Warcraft, but then the Hearthstone spin was like, well, what if all of our heroes became Death Knights? Like, what does that universe look like? So I like that they're doing that, and they're kind of doing that in Ashes of Outland because we're not just going to Outland, but we're also coming up against a new enemy that is Hearthstone specific. So it's kind of like Iron Horde from like Warlords of Draenor, but they're basically this faction that is taking existing things that we're familiar with from Warcraft and Hearthstone and then like mechanizing them, giving them chainsaws for hands.
Yeah. I'm really into it. So let's just get into it because there's like a new legendary theme for minions in this expansion, which are prime legendary minions. They're described as powerful minions who shuffle a vastly upgraded version of themselves back into your deck when they are taken off board. So they all have death rattles that put a much more powerful version of themselves into your deck when they die. And every class except Demon Hunter is going to get a unique prime. And we've seen 3 of them in the reveal today. I've seen all of them, but I don't really remember all of them. Sorry, just wanted to be a jerk there for a minute. But we're going to start by talking about Kargath Blade Fist, a 4-mana 4/4 legendary warrior minion with rush and a death rattle that reads, shuffle Kargath Prime into your deck. You're going to notice a pattern here as we go through these cards. And that's all fine. 4/4 for 4 with rush. Okay, whatever. What does Kargath Prime do? Well, what does Kargath Prime do? Kargath Prime is an 8-mana 10/10 with rush that reads, whenever this attacks and kills a minion, gain 10 armor.
Dude.
Yeah. I'm going to dude right back at you.
Every time. And it has rush, so it's going to get to attack and kill at least one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly even stick around.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
It's a 10/10 for 8 with rush.
Yeah.
It's gonna attack something. You're gonna get that 10 armor. It's probably still gonna be alive at the end. There's a chance.
There is a chance.
Even if there isn't, you have 10 damage removal that gives you 10 armor for 8 mana. Like, okay, sure. I'm here for this.
Yep.
And leaves a threat on board, whatever the case is. So yes, this is good and a fantastic example of prime minions. They are nutty. Are you ready to practice pronouncing a name?
Okay, so this one, I mean, I'm.
How do you think you say this? How do you think you say this?
Mushy fin?
No, Jocelyn, no. It's arch spore Mashiffin.
No. This is the new Undertaker, is what this is.
Mashiffin.
He's gonna be Mushy Fin for the whole time. That's my new name for him.
Mashiffin. You gotta say it.
Mushy Fin.
No, just give yourself over to the Mashiffin side. It's so much more fun over here, Jocelyn.
Yeah. All right.
You can't say it and not smile. Okay. You can't say it and not smile.
Oh my god.
So anyway, Archspore Mashiffin is a 3 mana, 3/4 legendary druid minion with taunt and death rattle. Shuffle Mashiffin Prime into your deck. And you may be asking yourself, well, what is Mashiffin Prime? It's a 10 mana 9/9 with taunt and a choose one. You choose one, summon a 9/9 Fungal Giant with taunt, so you get 2 9/9s with taunt for 10 mana, or rush. So you could also make Mashiffin Prime a 9/9 with rush as your choose one.
Okay, so wait. Okay, so the first choose one option, do you get 2 9/9s regardless?
Didn't think of it like that, but it kind of sucks the other way, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because if the options are get 2 9/9s or 1 9/9 with rush, I'm gonna go 2 9/9s every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you get 2 9/9s every time.
Two, no matter what. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, I don't think that's how it works.
It makes so much more sense. This is a poorly formatted card.
So yeah, this is kind of gross. Like 2 9/9s with taunt, or no, sorry, 2 9/9s with taunt, or 1 9/9 with taunt and 1 9/9 with rush.
Yep, way better.
Wow.
Way freaking better. Way freaking better. Yes. Prime cards, ladies and gentlemen.
Prime cards are insane.
Yes. And now one that isn't nearly as fun to say, but a character I love nonetheless. Lady Vaj is the prime minion for Shaman, a 3 mana 4/3 legendary Shaman minion with spell damage +1 and death rattle. Shuffle Vaj Prime into your deck. Vaj Prime is a 7 mana 5/4 with spell damage +1 and a battle cry that reads: draw 3 spells, reduce their cost by 3. Targeted draw and a massive mana discount.
Yeah, so you're getting 9 mana off of your spells, assuming that they aren't 2 or less cost, right? Because you can never have negative mana spells. So I think this could find its way into a spell shaman deck, which I'm kind of stoked for. It's been a while since shaman was doing really spell heavy things. They've been so minion heavy, especially with their Galakron summoning more little elemental dudes, that like I'm ready to get back to a spell slinging shaman. Yeah,
same. Also, like 3 mana 4/3 just by itself, spell damage +1s, whatever, but like shaman finds reasons for spell damage. I like that too. I like that these vanilla versions are a little interesting. Kargath has rush, Archspore has taunt, and is also passes the vanilla test with flying colors, having 3/4 worth of stats for 3. Lady Vaj, same thing. I like these. Like even their base forms are just good cards.
Agreed.
So Prime Minions, super cool, and coming to us in 3 weeks when freaking Ashes of Outland release. All right, let's move on to another new theme in Ashes of Outland, which is Dormant Minions. Also, like it's a new keyword, Dormant. So
yeah, and you find the dormant keyword and it works like other cards that I think we've seen dormant on before, but maybe it wasn't bolded. Like I'm thinking of that plant that like when it died, it'd go to sleep and you had to do the thing to make it come back again. I'm totally blanking on what it was.
Exactly
was it Sherazin? Maybe? A chat room will tell me anyways, but these cards also all have imprisoned in their name. So very much like our evasive dragons, same idea.
Yeah,
if you see an imprisoned minion, then they have this dormant keyword.
Yeah.
Corpse Flower.
It was Sherazin Corpse Flower. It did say dormant. It was not capitalized. It was not bolded.
Right. So now they've made that idea into a keyword.
Yeah. And so the way this was, and Sherazin doesn't work like this because Sherazin was like play 4 cards to revive him. All minions with bold dormant from this expansion work the same way. They are dormant for 2 turns. So you play them, they go dormant, they can't do anything, they can't be interacted with, like you can't do damage to it, you can't polymorph them, you can't remove them from the game. They just sit there, take up a board slot, and can't be interacted with in any way for 2 turns once you've played them. Also they are all demons. These are all imprisoned demons is like the flavor here. And so we've seen 2 of them in the reveal today. It was Imprisoned Satyr, which is a 3 mana, 3/3 common druid demon, which is obviously dormant for 2 turns. I don't know why they would put it for 2 turns if dormant had bolded and
if whatever. Dormant means 2 turns, yeah.
Getting over myself so that the show can go on. When this awakens, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 5. And this is how all these dormant minions work. Once they awaken, they do something cool. Imprisoned Observer is the other one we saw. It's a 3 mana 4/5 rare mage demon that's dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions.
Yeah, and a chat room's kind of bringing up the thing that I was thinking is that maybe they're adding the 4/2 turns to kind of leave it open if they want to use the keyword in a different way, and maybe later on in this year, like we really don't know. But maybe dormant means like uninteractable.
That's fair.
And then
it entered my mind because they made it very clear that all imprisoned demons were dormant for 2 turns. But that's a good point. That doesn't mean that
so
they
then
can't change it
because there was another chat room's also mentioning the 4/8 druid thing that you had to heal in order to reactivate it. That also was a dormant minion, and they just kind of like they're on the board, but they're just like a circle. Like you can't do anything. They don't have their like attack and health values or anything else. They just kind of are in this like silver encased thing.
Yeah. Right. So
yeah.
Anyways, my experience with these minions were they were bad.
Which is so sad because I mean, I understand like if I play, yes, it's a 3 mana 4/5, right? Let's talk about the mage one, the Imprisoned Observer. It's a 3 mana 4/5. So you're like, whoa, 3 mana 4/5, that's so good. But you're basically doing nothing on turn 3, right?
Yes.
So you play this, nothing happens. You just sit there and you continue on with the rest of your turn. So then the effects that they have need to be powerful enough that skipping your turn is okay. And in the past, we've only seen these like skip your turn, do nothing effects like once or twice to the point that I can't even remember the successful ones. I'm sure chat room will, but just the idea that you have to just do nothing and then something happens later on down the line, which this isn't even next turn you do something. This is 2 turns away before the thing is going to happen. Which means that, yes, you have the chance to strategize around it, but so does your opponent, which is kind of sketchy in terms of power level, right?
Yeah, it depends on the effect, right? If I remember, I think there was a dormant minion we saw that did seem good. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, and it doesn't matter. It wasn't revealed today, so I wouldn't be at liberty to tell you. But right here, I think the 2 they showed is a really good example because I think Imprisoned Observer is bad. I think this is a bad card. You end up getting a 4/5 on turn 5 if you play this on curve because you have to wait for it, and then it deals 2 damage to all enemy minions when it awakens. Your opponent knows it's coming, can play around it. Also, it's turn 5, probably going to live. I don't like this card. But Imprisoned Satyr, I do like. When this awakens, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 5. This is a druid card. This makes sense in druid. This feels druid. They're all about, they've historically wanted to cheat mana, cheat out bit larger minions. And yeah, this could land on a minion that you don't want it to land on, but you have a decent amount of control over what you deploy from your hand over the next 2 turns.
Yeah, very true. And again, that comes down to the strategy. And this is one that your opponent doesn't necessarily strategize around, but you as the player are strategizing around. So I think, it's an interesting concept anyways. We'll have to see what the rest of the cards look like before I actually, make a final kind of ruling on the whole idea of Dormant. But I do also like the fact that I don't have to do anything. Like that was kind of the thing, because Mage just recently had that if you play spells or play cards or something, then you can spawn things. And the whole idea with a lot of this stuff that is, we've seen in the past that's been dormant is they're interesting cards with powerful effects, but you had to do something to make it happen. So you had to heal, you had to play cards, you had to, whatever. But this just happens. So I think that that's something that makes it a little bit more powerful than other dormant effects we've seen before. But I just wonder if 2 turns is maybe just a little bit too long. Like, it would waking up next turn be better instead? Well, it would definitely be better, but, would it be broken?
Yeah. Like, I'd be a lot more interested in Imprisoned Observer for no other reason than get a 4/5 on 4 that does anything. It does something. So, I mean, I could just play a Yeti, but, 2 damage, they have to play around a little bit, but taking it out to turn 5, I'm just like, I don't really care if I'm doing 2 damage to the board on turn 5. They got 2 turns to think about it and prepare.
And make sure that they're not playing into it and everything else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I do think that Satyr at least is interesting because, especially in Druid, you're often playing a lot of big stuff. So getting a discount on big stuff combined with, ramping, you might be getting really, really disgusting things like, say, a 9/9 with taunt and also summoning another 9/9 with taunt or rush. Seems like a thing that on turn 5 would be a little bit OP.
Yeah, and you get the same with Shiffin. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
You say Mushfin and you're happy about it.
Celestalon, please tweet at Joss Plays and let her know.
Make me say it.
Let her know. He was the one who taught me how to pronounce it correctly. So, yeah. All right. Before we move on to just kind of like really cool other cards that were previewed, we have to talk about the card that you can play with as we speak. Kael'thas Sunstrider, a card much requested by the 2 of us on this very podcast. When
over the years,
we've gotten the question that comes back around multiple times a year, which is, what is the character you think is sorely missing from Hearthstone? The answer from both of us, I feel like, has always been Kael'thas Sunstrider. I think
it was always something that needed to be considered, right? Like, he's so iconic in WoW lore, and he's kind of been more and less important. And I don't know, this is probably a bit of a WoW spoiler, but he's also, coming back in the next WoW expansion, which maybe that's why this is coming into being now. I don't know, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad he's back.
I mean, can you spoil saying a character is coming back in the next expansion of World of Warcraft when the next expansion is about going to the land of the dead and visiting with our dead friends and enemies?
That's why I was like, I don't know if this is really a spoiler. Like, anyone who cares probably already knows, and anyone who doesn't care doesn't care.
Spoiler, in the Matrix, they're in the Matrix.
Whoa.
At least for a portion of the Matrix. I guess they're not always in the Matrix. Anyways, the joke flopped. Kael'thas Sunstrider is out now. Free for everyone. All you got to do is log in. It's a 6-mana 4/7 legendary neutral minion. Every 3rd spell you cast each turn costs 0. Woo, baby, get my verdant sphere on.
Yeah, so this was just auctioneer. Gross.
I mean, no.
So expensive. Like, I get it. Like, having both of these on board at the same time is probably not going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah.
This gives me total auctioneer vibes.
My first thought just goes, cool, Twin Spell is still here. It's going to be here a while. This card I think this is a good card. I love that Kael'thas is not a bad card, and we're all getting it. I'm like legitimately hyped about this. I like Kael'thas a lot. I think this is a really strong effect. Obviously not going to be good for every damn class, and there's only so much mana you have to play with to cast 2 spells in a turn. You're going to need a 3rd one sitting there, obviously. But, the mage implications, Jocelyn, the mage implications.
And rogue, too, I think.
Whatever. Rogue has been getting to cheat out spells their entire existence. I don't care. I'm so down on Rogue right now. I'm like, you still got it when you jerks. Also, I like to point out, they still have lackeys. Everyone's like, they were really strong because of lackeys this year. I'm like, y'all, lackeys are here to stay for
that
one
is
more
also
year,
true.
at least. But whatever, doesn't matter. I'm not going to talk about Edwin anymore.
But yeah, mage can do some really crazy things, and I think that's super thematic too. Like lore wise, Kael'thas being a mage and interacting with spells and then being powerful even though he's a neutral over in mage, very similar to the discussion we had earlier about Malygos. Malygos might be a neutral card, but one of the classes he's always excelled in has been mage, which he's the aspect of magic that makes a lot of sense. So I think like lore wise, I really like the flavor of this card. I'm interested to see if he actually, sees a lot of play. He does have a fairly big booty, so there, he could maybe even stick around a bit. I'm interested to see what people do with this card.
Yeah, Kael'thas has been doing squats. Not blood elves, not known for their behinds.
True.
No, they're known for their hair, which is a strategy I have adopted in my life, being a man with no ass. All the time on the hair.
It's ass or hair. You got to choose one.
Anyways, there were also some just phenomenal looking cards that were previewed coming in the Ashes of Outland card set. We're not going to talk about each and every one of them, but we are going to talk about a lot of them because they're just too cool not to talk about. Starting with the cards you're going to have to collect as a Demon Hunter, not the ones that are just going to be given to you when you unlock the class. Starting with Metamorphosis, a 5-mana legendary Demon Hunter spell, which reads, swap your hero power to deal 5 damage. After 2 uses, swap it back. Also make Priest jealous, because they can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and so this deal 5 damage is still 1 mana, right?
Yes.
And targeted.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to pay 5 mana for it, but it's 5 mana plus, so it's 7 mana.
So it's like 7 mana, 10 damage split into places over 2 turns.
Yes, and you can put that 10 damage wherever you would like it to be. Well, the 5 damage wherever you would like to be over the course of 2 turns. Unless you go over.
Interesting card design for sure.
Yeah, you go over the wild, make yourself an Inspire deck, and get some hero power resets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. This is good. I got to play with this. This is a really cool card. It feels really powerful. Demon Hunters can be extremely aggressive. I was surprised in what my limited time with it. I was surprised that, honestly, to me, in my limited time, very, very small game played pool, tokens seemed to be like the most aggressive with tools like this. And I wasn't running this in a token list. It was just nutty. Kind of like they're the options available to them. But Jocelyn, would you like to reveal what I believe is the most busted ass card we are about to contend with in Hearthstone?
I was so happy, first of all, that they made this a card, that they made it part of the reveal video in that storage locker thing they did. The Skull of Gul'dan is so iconic in WoW lore, with Illidan and Demon Hunters. Like this, I'm actually, if I'm going to say anything, it's that I'm a little bit disappointed that this is tied to the Ashes of Outland expansion, because this, I feel like it's so iconic. It just should be in the Demon Hunter basic set. Like, it's busted. It's really good. But lore-wise, flavor-wise, this should be a always with us Demon Hunter card.
Yeah, and you know how we were just talking about Metamorphosis as like, well, you spend 7 mana, you get 10 damage over 2. Yeah, you could deploy this. You could deploy Metamorphosis for 2 mana. And why is that?
Wait, sorry, what?
I'm sorry, did you not read the card yet?
I did. No, I did read the card. I was distracted by chat room. So
okay.
Yeah.
So never mind.
I wasn't expecting you to throw it back to me so fast. That was my bad.
Yes.
I'm getting tired. It's 2 hours in.
So yeah, Skull of Gul'dan can discount Metamorphosis if it draws it. Like it's just so good. It's so
and it's rare. It's not legendary, which means twice twice you can draw 3 cards and reduce their cost by 3
Also,
during the course of the game.
One of those cards that you can draw can be your other Skull of Gul'dan, which now instead of
Oh my
costing
God.
5, costs 2. And that happened to me in 2 games I played at the Summit, and it was so insane. It felt so unfair.
Yeah. This card, and like I said, this is why I feel like it's good that this card is an expansion specific card, because it can get tweaked, it will rotate, blah, 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 blah. But I just wish that they had taken the Skull of Gul'dan moniker and assigned that to a basic card, because yeah, it's super iconic. But this also, even just what the card does is super flavorful, because like Illidan like basically absorbs the skull and gets like all the like knowledge and memories and stuff, which so like makes so much sense with getting cards out of your deck. Like, I don't know. I love it. I love it.
It's going to be Demon Hunter Stone, man. And it's like this card's fault, I think.
Yeah.
And I, for one, cannot wait for it. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to just throw the next card to you, because I know you, as the resident Hunter lover, is going to be a little excited about this card.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm really not excited about is the fact that Demon Hunter cards and Hunter cards look very, very, very similar. There's like a light green kind of like tattooy outline on the Demon Hunter cards, but it can be hard to tell them apart. So this is a straight up OG Hunter card, not a Demon Hunter card. It's Scavenger's Ingenuity, which is draw a beast and give it +3/+3. So
for 2
targeted
mana.
Draw in Hunter, for 2 mana I think this is really good. So it's like a built-in draw and buff. Like this is just a straight up good Hunter card.
Yeah. It's I love it. This is hey Garrett, what do you like in card design? This.
Yeah.
This right here. That's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about Ambush, because Rogue Secrets are back. And Ambush is one of them. It's a 2 mana rare Rogue Secret that reads, after your opponent plays a minion, summon a 2/3 Ambusher with Poisonous. I like it.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, this isn't great. And then I was like, wait a minute. This is really good, because you have the initiative, assuming that assuming they don't really play around it, but like they're going to play something out and then have to deal with the fact that you now have a 2/3 poisonous minion that will be available to attack on your next turn, meaning that you can essentially deal with anything that they do if they've, played a big minion. So this is really cool. I like this design. I think this is a good secret.
Yeah, Ambusher does not have stealth, in case anyone is curious. It's just a 2/3 with Poisonous, as advertised. But still, I like this secret. I like the design of the secret for all the reasons you listed. I think it's got some legs, and you may not after you pop it. So, I'm sorry. All right, your choice. Do you want to get excited about one of the most iconic pieces of gear ever, or one of the most iconic villains ever? Your choice, Jocelyn.
Yeah. I mean, they even made a backpack out of this.
All right, you're choosing gear. You're choosing gear.
I think I'm choosing gear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The floor is yours.
Oh man. Okay, so this card is just insane. So it is a 3 mana 1/4 warrior weapon. I'm using air quotes if you are listening to the audio only, because it's the Bulwark of Azzinoth. And so this is like, I know even if you guys don't play WoW, you've seen this. This is the gigantic shield with all of the crazy metal spikes coming out of it. I know you've seen this. The Blizzard Gear Store made a backpack out of this thing. So 1/4 weapon, 3 mana. You're probably like, Joss, that sounds lame. Why are you getting so excited about this? Why I'm getting so excited about this is because it has flavor text that reads, whenever your hero would take damage, this loses durability instead. What? This is like legit a shield. This is the best example of a shield we have in Hearthstone. I love this. It's not actually a weapon. It's totally a shield. They did it. I don't know how they came up with this, but this is amazing. It's so freaking cool. It's not armor. It's different. It's a shield.
Yeah. And we've had takes damage instead effects before, but like not this way, not this powerful, not this well themed.
Yeah, exactly. It's so flavorful, and that's why I called it flavor text. It's not. It's actually the text on the card. It's not the flavor text, but yeah, like it's so flavorful that I could not help myself.
Hey, Blizzard, could you please announce WoW Classic BC now, please? Because after this. Like, I forgot how iconic Burning Crusade was. And
yeah,
when I was poring over the cards, when I got a chance to look at everything, I was just like, oh my God, it's that thing and that thing. And that the member berries, it's too much for me as a Warcraft nerd.
Yeah.
And it's legitimately refreshing after an entire Hearthstone year of mostly original characters. So, like, back to Warcraft. Oh, yeah, look, we're here. The freaking Bulwark of Azeroth is here. And also, the first Death Knight ever is here. Terran Gorefiend is coming to Hearthstone as a 3-mana, 3/4 legendary neutral minion, meaning there's nothing stopping you from putting Gorefiend in your deck. Also, that 3/4 comes with a battle cry, destroy all friendly minions, death rattle, resummon them with +1/+1.
The flavor on this, I know I'm going to say that 100 times as we go through all of the card reveals for Ashes of Outland, but I just can't get enough of this because it's so flavorful and iconic. Like, it's so WoW lore people, if you guys don't play WoW, if you're not familiar, Terran Gorefiend was literally the first Death Knight. He was created by Gul'dan and his Shadow Council, and they basically took the souls and shoved them into the dead bodies of the Alliance captains. And oh my God, the flavor of all of this is so cool. And I can't, I'm having a loregasm all over this episode of Angry Chicken, guys. I'm sorry, but this is so great.
In case we're talking too fast, there is an L in front of that. Lore. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, even thematically what he does, the idea of destroying and resummoning things more powerful than they were before is so first Warcraft lore stuff. Like, this is what the Death Knights did, is destroy their enemies and turn them to be more powerful and fight for themselves. It's so good. Now, this destroys all friendly minions, not all enemy minions, but still, the idea of destroying a whole bunch of stuff and bringing it back in a more powerful form is so Death Knight. I love it. It's badass. It's badass.
Yeah. I love this card. I love everything about it. It's amazing. And
I think there's a lot of really cool ways that you can do this too. Like, there's, you can do death rattle things, you can do reborn things. There's all kinds of minions that killing them isn't bad,
I was about to ruin it for you. I can't wait to take this into Wild and cube it.
No, Garrett. But that is an interesting idea. So if you,
I would assume it would actually
cube it,
lose the minions.
It would just have two more 3/4s, right? Not two 3/4s that would have
whatever
all of
consumed.
I whatever it consumed. Yeah,
that's how it worked.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be insane. But yeah. Also, chat room's talking about in Wild, Sylvanas, Gorefiend, then N'Zoth, and just get insane.
Ooh, dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Grave Rune. That's a good ass question, Triago. I need to remind myself exactly what Grave Rune says. In Hearthstone, give a minion death rattle, summon 2 copies of this. Again, I would assume it wouldn't be its version with the consume.
Well, because it hasn't done the battle cry, right? Because that was the cube actually itself worked similarly, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you cubed cubes, it didn't hang on to what it had before because it didn't do the battle cry. So that instance of the minion doesn't have anything to resummon.
Yeah, copies the vanilla minion, essentially.
Yeah.
So never mind. I would assume that's how it works, unless they're doing some type of special thing here, but I do not believe they are. So
yeah.
Anyway, still an amazing card that I'm very excited about. And I mean, hell, Baron, it would be a death rattle triggering twice. So
yep.
there's Baron to be considered in Wild. So many
Definitely.
cool
There's stuff. There's so much cool stuff.
The fact that this is 3 mana, like you will find combos with this card and you will have the mana to make them happen.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with the design of this card.
Mm-hmm. I'm on board, man. I'm so on board.
I've got the Vapus. It's too much. This is too much Hearthstone. Legitimately too much Hearthstone. I can't handle all the Hearthstone. I was just proud that I got my Smurf Battlegrounds account to 6K. Like I was like happy enough to talk about that this week, and it's just all this.
Well, speaking of Battlegrounds, we should actually talk about patch 16.6 because this stealth launched today. We knew that there was stuff coming, but this came out of nowhere. There was a throwaway comment in the live stream about how you could log in right now and you could get Kael'thas. And, obviously we're like, oh, okay, hotfix. No. Full freaking patch. We have battleground changes. We have monetization changes. We have card unnerfings. We have card changes. We have new heroes. Like, they didn't talk about any of this.
No, they did not. It's pretty freaking crazy. And so we already talked about Kael'thas, so let's move right along and talk about the Tavern Pass, something I literally read and learned about in real time on the instance today.
Yeah, like I literally, right before you were going to go do the instance, I was like, oh my God, patch is out. Here's the notes. Here's the TLDR. I know you have the instance and they're probably going to talk about it. So boom, 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 boom. This is happening live right now.
Yeah. So it's like a perk system essentially. And as far as I understand, is this replacing the get 30 cards from the most recent expansion bit?
Yes. So this
packs?
is... Yeah, 30 packs. Yeah. So this is replacing the way that we currently access the extras in Battlegrounds. So right now it was buy or acquire a certain number of packs. It's changing now to having the Tavern Pass. So it's going to cost you $20 or 2,500 gold. Inside of this Tavern Pass, it's not exclusive to Battlegrounds. So it will give you 4 arena tickets as well as all of your Battlegrounds perks that you're used to. So you're going to get advanced stats, you're going to get your visual emotes, you're going to get 3rd and 4th, which is a change, heroes to choose from when you're starting the game. And then on top of that, you're going to get early access to new Battlegrounds heroes. So that's, again, the extra hero at the start of the game and the extra or early access to Battleground heroes. This is new. This is something that we haven't had before. This Tavern Pass, is going to last the duration of the new expansion, Ashes of Outland.
Yeah. So that's a lot to take in.
It is. It's a lot.
I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of heat for saying I like this. I like this quite a bit.
Well, I mean, okay, so it's kind of interesting because the pre-order is also live, and the pre-order for Ashes of Outland, the I guess larger of the 2 bundles, includes a Tavern Pass. So if you buy the larger of the 2 pre-purchase bundles, this is built in.
Yes, the mega bundle.
The mega bundle, yeah. If you don't, then you are now... I mean, they do give you the option to purchase for either real money or for 2,500 gold. So it's still kind of similar. The piece that they're taking away is the ability to do things like watch Twitch streams, to complete quests, because all of that stuff, anything that awarded Descent of Dragons packs went towards unlocking your Battlegrounds perks. So you are losing one avenue of a free-to-play player accessing the perks for Battlegrounds. You can still work your way up there because you can purchase this with gold, but I can see how, especially since this is something that's going to launch basically right alongside of the Ashes of Outland expansion, you're probably saving that 2,500 gold to buy packs. And previously, using that gold to buy packs would unlock both packs and your access to Battlegrounds. Now, if you want to buy packs, you're going to have to also buy your way into Battlegrounds. So I can see like this is just going to make it harder for people who are free to play to enter Battlegrounds with the full perks. So, because I mean, you can do without early access, but third and fourth hero choices in Battlegrounds are pretty key. So, I mean, and this also takes away the ability to unlock these perks like one at a time. It seems to be just an all-in thing. Like you either have it or you don't have it, right? So it's not like I can pay a little bit of gold or a little bit of money here and there. It's like it has a cost of $20 or 2,500 gold, and then you get everything all at once. So yeah, I mean, I understand that it is a mode that's doing really well. I'm imagining this is probably going to also come out of beta around the same time. And it's something that it would be a bad business decision to keep it free, like to not monetize it in some way. And I like this because they didn't go the arena route of making you pay every time you want to hit the button, right? You still are able to play Battlegrounds for free. It's just you won't have the big sticking point for me is the third and fourth hero choices at the start of your game. So you can still go into Battlegrounds for free, but you only get to choose between two heroes. So that's definitely a competitive disadvantage.
I guess I get all that. I guess I like it because it works for the way I buy stuff for Hearthstone.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like this, I think, does not impact me because I will buy the mega bundle like I always do. But I think that it impacts a lot of people who are just straight up free to play, or who could have previously gotten cards and battleground perks, and now, you know, they're not going to be able to double dip.
Yeah. Well, to me, this was inevitable.
It really was. I mean, it's a successful mode that's fun to play. A lot of people are really interested in it. A lot of people enjoy playing it, and it would be a bad business move for them to keep it just, you know, straight up free. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. That being said, I think it would soften the blow for people who this does affect the way that they play the game and unlock things. If this came alongside news that more quests were coming that were Battleground specific, that would help you get gold through playing Battlegrounds, because right now getting gold through Battlegrounds is a joke. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's basically non-existent.
Yeah. And in a time where they seem to be making all the right moves, because there's so much more we're just about to talk about in terms of making Hearthstone accessible, it would be nice to just shore it up so we don't need to talk about exceptions. But the gold making through Battlegrounds is a major exception in my mind. It doesn't affect me. I like this. I like this a lot better than what was going on. I would like this even without those arena tickets, because I will not use them.
Yeah, I probably won't use my arena tickets either. And
anything else, please. As a perk, those arena tickets are basically nothing for me.
I think that they're trying to. They've been making so many changes to Arena. I think they're trying to promote it, and maybe if there are people who came to Hearthstone from the auto battler genre and are completely new to Hearthstone and maybe aren't interested in Arena without a way to kind of get in there for free, but, you know, might really like the mode. Like, I think they're just trying to introduce new people they brought into Hearthstone that play Battlegrounds exclusively, because I think there's a lot of those people. I think they're just trying to introduce them to like the rest of the game, the greater Hearthstone ecosystem. And so this makes sense to tie those two things together in one kind of monetization package. And there are a lot of people that are going to play both that are going to get a lot out of this. But you're right. For you and I, the arena tickets are kind of meh. Like they're just going to sit in my account.
Yeah, it's the same for me. But I like the addition of another option to grab a hero. And also I am rapidly catching up to my main account on my Europe account, and I only have access to 2 heroes over there. So there's also that, which I find interesting. Although I'd probably be a lot higher if I wasn't screwing around on my phone with my Europe account all the time.
Yeah.
So who knows? Whatever the case is, yeah, I'm happy about this. But you bring up really good points. There's so much other stuff. Pre-purchase. I think we talked enough about that. Where do we even start with things being unnerfed or So
changed anyways. This is wild stuff. It's enough to make me want to go over and try wild because they made changes to Yogg and Spiteful Summoner, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. We're gonna go right back to Battlegrounds after this, by the way. But Spiteful Summoner going to 6 mana.
Yeah.
Call of the Wild, 8 mana. Lesser Emerald Spellstone, 5 mana. Rouse of the Chained. The old ways of work, if your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 1 this game. The new one is Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. The big one for everyone except me, Yogg-Saron has just been unnerfed. No longer stops casting when he leaves the board.
Live right now.
Just going to avoid Wild from now on because the worst card is the worst card again. And then Sludge Slurper, can't speak, is back to 2 attack, 1 health, which we talked about last week. Yes?
We did, yes. I think. Maybe.
Yes.
And it's been a while now. It's all blurring together.
Yeah, this is all live now. These changes have been made. You can go play with these cards in Wild and Sludge Slurper in Standard. In their unnerfed states, which is just awesome. This is really cool that they're doing this, that they're, taking into account Wild, taking into account changes that were, made for a certain point in the meta when the meta was a lot more limited and these types of things were a lot more oppressive. That is no longer the case, except for Yogg-Saron. And they're undoing it.
Yeah. I think this is great. It's a great precedent. I hope that they take a look at all the old stuff that they've ever changed and maybe think about moving things around. But yeah, I'm down. I love this.
Yep.
Possibly enough to make me go play Wild. Crazy sauce.
And then there's a major Battlegrounds update.
Yes.
I didn't need this. I need to go work on my ladder. Okay. I need to work on my ladder ranking. And you were making that very hard. So first off, mercifully, because Jocelyn, I had the worst luck in heroes offered to me yesterday on my main account with like 3 options. I've been having better luck with offerings with 2 options on my European account that I have with my main account in NA. But it's about to get a lot better because the heroes I kept getting offered yesterday, Ragnaros, Sylvanas, and Patches, are gone. They're not in the pool anymore.
Yes, but we do have some of the most ridiculous art, and that's saying something in Hearthstone. We have a new hero, completely new hero, Fungal Mancer Flurgle.
Yeah, so you'll say that, but you won't say Mashiffin.
Yeah, because that's just weird. It's just all consonants. There needs to be some vowels in there.
No, there doesn't. No.
Flurgle has a vowel. I can get behind Flurgle.
Yeah, it's a new Murloc hero. The hero power is Gone Fishing. It is passive. After you sell a Murloc, add a random Murloc to Bob's Tavern. So Ysera-esque, which means maybe not good.
But Ysera just got changed, so...
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. But I liked the design of Ysera, whether it panned out or not. I liked the design of Flurgle. I love the art for Flurgle, which as a predominantly audio podcast is not all that helpful to those of you out there in podcast land. But trust me, just go look. This Murloc is tripping.
Yeah, and I think that this is okay because of the design specifically of Murlocs. So I think that because you're doing a lot of buying and selling, you've got the token creator, I feel like you're selling Murlocs quite often. You've got Toxfin that you're going to want to be selling. You've got Cold Lights to discover more Murlocs when you play Murlocs or when you control Murlocs. Like, there's a lot of buying and selling of specifically tribal minions in Murlocs. And so I think of all the tribes to apply this to, this was probably the best one. And I think that this could maybe be okay, like better than Ysera's original iteration of her power.
Yeah. There's also the asterisk.
It's also passive. There's no cost to it, right? So
right. None whatsoever. It's also got the asterisk of the same tavern tier or lower. You're not going to like high roll into a holy mackerel or anything. Nothing crazy like that's going to happen unless you're at tavern tier 6.
Obviously.
Sir Finley Mergleton is back, and they literally listened to one of our listeners who suggested that Sir Finley in Battlegrounds hero power should be at the start of the game, discover a hero power, and that is exactly what they changed Sir Finley to.
Which is really interesting because now it's like if you get Finley alongside two other heroes that you don't necessarily want to pick, it's like a mulligan of your hero choices, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, it's rad. I love this. And also,
then you get to play as Finley, which is always a bonus.
It's very Finley themed too. This is very well themed within Hearthstone itself. So I'm stoked as hell about this. Professor Putricide is back. And Rage Potion is now cost 1, give a friendly minion +1 attack for the next combat only. However,
plus 10.
What'd I say?
+1.
My bad. +10 attack for the next combat only. You know what? I'm not sorry. I'm exhausted. It's targeted now.
Yes.
You can now put this +10 attack on what you want it to be on, which is a lot better. I still think
regardless of positioning, I
still think this is lower power on average, but
at least it's better than it was.
This is definitely an improvement for sure. Yeah. Let's get this on Arthas, please. Arthas did get a change. What is it? I actually haven't seen this one yet. Oh, it's targeted.
It's exactly the same. It's targeted. Yeah. Yeah, like literally, guys, peek behind the curtain. Christ. Garrett recorded the instance like right before, like right when all this patch notes came out. Like I would be shocked if he's actually read any of this.
I skimmed it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I skimmed it because I didn't know what all they were going to announce today. It wasn't as helpful as you probably think it was at home that I got a sneak peek at this stuff because it was just like, well, what can I talk about? I know they're not announcing all the cards, so it's not like I can anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about the Lich King. Reborn Rights. Cost 1 gold. Give a friendly mini reborn for next combat only. It is targeted now. Yes.
Yeah. Which it used to be the rightmost minion had reborn, and now you can make anything in your lineup have reborn. And so it just straight up is more powerful because you don't have to sacrifice positioning in order to get reborn on the minion that you want to be reborn. So this is great.
Yeah. So I got early access to HS Replays Battleground stuff too. Nice. Last week, so my head is just bursting at the seams with Battleground statistics. The amount of games they have logged is insane, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And Lich King has just fallen off a cliff since the Divine Shield Taunters have been removed from the game because they were kind of his bread and butter. And this is going to help a ton, an absolute ton. I really liked Lich King. He was kind of like my pocket buddy. And
no one at all is surprised.
No, I strictly because like I liked giving reborn. Like Lich King here or there, I didn't really care. I just liked the effect, and I liked. This is one of like from a fun aspect. I liked playing the game with this power, and this is just infinitely better. So I'm really excited about this. Ysera's change, Dream Portal, is now passive. At the start of your turn, add a dragon to Bob's Tavern.
Yeah, so you're now just guaranteed without having to spend mana to refresh. Now, you were probably refreshing anyways, but this just straight up guarantees, like even right at the start of the game, that you can just go dragons if that's what you choose. Like if you want to go dragons and Ysera is available to you, you can just pick her and you will automatically get a dragon at the start of every tavern. So this is, again, way better.
Yep. Love it. Pyramid, brick by brick, now is still cost 1. Give a random friendly minion +4 health. It is not targeted. I still think this is butt.
Yeah, I think the numbers is not necessarily the problem with this hero power. I mean, I've seen some pyramids really high roll, but again, because it's random, it just isn't as good as the stuff that you as the player get to make the decision.
There is a lot of randomness in Battlegrounds already. Introducing more of it is a detriment.
Yeah.
So, Millhouse. Okay, what the hell did they do to you, buddy? Passive minions cost 2 gold. Refresh cost 2 gold. Start with 3 gold.
Yes. So he's no longer perpetually behind.
Oh, he still stinks. He still stinks.
Yeah.
This is like pray you start with tokens or still not be a particularly great hero.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I would like to clarify, by the way, I think Millhouse is really fun to play. I legitimately get excited on my European account when he is offered. I pick him more often than not on my European account because it's just fun to buy more things than I should be able to buy. But I never want to see him on my main account where I actually care about my rank.
I think he's super powerful on he's super powerful early game specifically, and I mean he's interesting the later it goes. I don't know. I think this might be okay because he has the ability to, not fall as far behind as he was before. But I mean, refreshing, just having less options, period, is just going to be worse the longer the game goes. So I still feel like we need to learn how to play him, but he, right. I think, relies a lot on luck.
All right, you've gotten like 4 I'm rights over the course of recent Hearthstone history. I'm gonna take one here. Jocelyn, you've had access to HS3 Plays Battleground statistics for a while now, yes?
I know. And you are right. Millhouse in his previous iteration was bad. I'm hoping that the change to start him at the same place as everybody else will be enough so that he doesn't fall behind and just get absolutely murdered.
Okay. All right. Because I'm going to come at you with knives on we still need to learn how to play him. There's nothing to learn. You just have to hope you get lucky.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, the thing to learn is stop re-rolling because that's the reason he's terrible.
Yeah.
The refresh is still 2 gold. This hero is still terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So
it would be interesting if it was like, well, I guess, yeah, that would be, never mind. I was going to say if it was like 3-2-1, like 3 gold, 2 minions, 1 refresh, but then that just is like everything else except for your minions cost 2 gold, and then
that would just make him the best hero in the game.
He would just be the best. Yeah. So never mind. I didn't think it all the way through. I was just like, oh, 3-2-1. That's a pretty pattern. I like that.
I'm conflicted on Millhouse because I legitimately think he's fun. I think he's one of the most fun heroes to play. There's something about just buying everything that just is inherently fun in this game mode.
Yeah.
But trying to make him good is rough. And
yeah.
I think his first refresh would cost 1. All his refreshes don't need to, but give him 1 refresh at a normal price.
Yeah, we'll see how this changes. Just the addition of the 1 mana to start him off the game right and kind of in line with everybody else. But he might be the next one we see that just gets rotated out and gets a rework because this doesn't seem to be working the way it's intended.
I'm gonna make a call right now. Okay. So he's currently in last place. I don't think he rises 3 spots.
Ouch.
I think moving up 3 spots from the absolute bottom is that's my guess for the highest Millhouse will improve.
The highest he'll climb. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's me on Millhouse. That's the Millhouse minute here on the Angry King. All right, Rat King. Oh, thank God. While I was skimming, this is another one I missed. I saw the Millhouse one. I was prepared to dump on Millhouse. Rat King. All right, it's been changed. It's still a passive. Whenever you buy a Beast, Mech, Murloc, Demon, Dragon, give it +1/+2 instead of +1/+1, and it's still okay. Awesome, great, cool. Rat King is back.
Yeah, this is the change that they made. Now they've reverted him. Correct?
I believe that is the case. Yes. Yeah. My brain is in actual shambles at this point.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's the way that he used to be, and we're just gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
So he was unchanged.
Yeah, unnerfed. Confirmed by. Thank you, chat room. It's been a while. Yeah. I legitimately don't remember.
We're coming up on 2.5 hours. My brain is mush.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, yeah, these are the kind of things I don't commit to memory. And the patch that is now live, we did not have as much time to prepare for as we did.
Yeah.
Everything else from this episode. So, Maleficent Mana Storm, passive mechs in Bob's Tavern now has +2 attack. That is not a non-nerf because they used to be +1/+1. They used to have health passively.
Yeah. But this is actually, I saw Savit's play earlier on today, and he picked her, and she's real good.
With microbots? Oh, wait, no, that's in Bob's Tavern, though. It's not going to apply to microbots.
It's only, it's only in the tavern.
This isn't a Deathwing Light.
Right.
So, yeah.
But it's still really good because it's
really
just
like
every mech that you buy just inherently has 2 extra attack, and it worked really well.
Yeah. Did they remove Cobalt Guardian?
Nope.
No? Still in the game. Really?
Yep.
At this point, legitimately not knowing what minions have been moved around, I just kind of assumed they would have. Yeah, that's really good for Cobalt Guardian. No wonder.
Yeah.
Deathwing, the nerf came. All minions have +2
this
attack.
we knew was coming.
Yeah, the nerf is here. All minions have +2 attack. I'm really anxious to keep this is the one I'm anxious to keep my eye on because I don't think he's going to fall that far. I don't think Deathwing's going to fall that far. I think Deathwing is going to fall. I think he's going to get knocked out of the top. I bet it's going to be Nosdormu. I bet he stays above Archvillain Rafam. I bet he drops below Nosdormu and Dance and Daryl. I bet top 3 will be Nosdormu, Dance and Daryl, and Deathwing once the dust settles from this. That's my conservative estimate.
I can see that.
Reno Jackson, his hero power is going down to 3 gold instead of 4. Learning lessons from George. Over here. It still does the make a friendly minion gold once per game, but it's 3 mana or 3 gold instead of 4. I'm glad because I do think that this is one of the more fun heroes to play, and it just doesn't really work.
Yep.
So, yeah, I dig it. I like this change. I love playing Reno. I still take Reno more often than I should.
Everybody does. It doesn't matter how bad he is. Just everybody wants to play Reno. And I think that speaks to a lot of what they've done this year, fleshing out these characters. I mean, that is one, I think, thing that they did well with storytelling in Hearthstone this year and having an overarching like umbrella that all of the characters fit under. I'm glad we're moving past it now, but it does, like, I freaking love Reno. I could take him or leave him before this year, but they've done so much that he's just, I love him now. So
I'm just talking about from a gameplay aspect, like the science of fun, like just within the confines of Battlegrounds rule set, making golden minions is fun, and having the freedom to essentially cheat and make whatever golden you want without finding the other 2 copies. That is inherently fun. That is inherently cool. And it's something that excites me. It gets into my, I don't know if you've noticed, Jocelyn, I'm a bit of a tryhard in this mode.
No way.
But I love Reno Jackson. I love him. I love playing him. And it's not just because I like Reno, which I do, but I just want to cheat and make golden minions. That's what I want to do.
And honestly, like, this is one of the parts that I think the HS replay tool is going to be really, really helpful for when it actually comes out and launches, is because one of the things that you can see is what turn people use their hero power on average. And I think that that's going to be really helpful when you're trying to make a decision of when to actually use Reno's hero power, since you only get to do it once per game. You're going to get a really good idea of what people target, what strategies work, when to use it, when to hang on to it. Yeah, I think using the HS replay tool with Reno is going to be so good.
Yep. Moving right along to minions. Savannah Highmane is going from Tavern Tier 5 down to Tavern Tier 4.
Yep.
Oh, I just started learning how to draft beasts, and my win rate has improved significantly as a result of it, and this is just going to make it better. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
I like beasts. I always have like beasts. It's the hunter player in me.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Oh, no, sorry. That's the golden version.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
were you going to say you didn't realize that they made it a 12-10?
No, honestly, this is how insane I am. It was the card text of the summon 2/4/4 hyenas. Because the card isn't gold.
Right, yeah. But that is the golden version. Yeah. As we move through these.
And then Herald of Flame is gaining 2 health. There, as you may remember, originally had 4 health, now has 6 health. So it's gonna be a 5/6. It's also obviously adjusting the golden, which previously had 8 health, now has 12 health. Herald of Flame was already good. I will say though, I have had basically no success with dragons since their implementation. I think they're one of the riskiest tribes to go for.
Agreed.
And they really force you to like mono tribe. So yeah, I actually think dragons need the help. And I think this is a great place to put it, because Herald of Flame can be scary and is a fantastic counter to a fantastic unique counter to Deathwing, because of the fact like that it can snipe a whole line of rats if luck is in your favor. So I like this change. Steward of Time is also getting more attack. It used to have 2 attack, now it has 3 attack, and the golden is being adjusted accordingly to have 6 attack up from 4. I really like Steward of Time, but not because I actually play it. It's the thing when I'm just getting unlucky and I'm just like, I am falling behind. I desperately need stats on board. I'm going to buy this, reroll, hope for the best. Oh, look, there's something I actually want. Now I can give it +1/+1.
Yep, exactly.
This is like my panic buddy. This is my best friend when I'm panicking in Battlegrounds. But getting one more attack is not bad. I mean, a 3/4 at Tavern Tier 2 is solid. I like this. I like this quite a bit.
Well, yeah, I think this will actually kill some stuff if you have to hang on to it for a lobby or two, or a tavern or two, or a turn or two, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll actually, if it has to stay on your board, then I think it'll actually, kill some stuff and maybe even survive. So yeah. I think 3 attack is maybe where it always should have been. Speaking of where it always should have been, all of the aspects should be 4/12s.
Oh, thank God they messed with Caligos. Caligos is another reason I've been really down on dragons. It's just like a little late to be concerning myself with the peasants that are Battlecry minions. So yeah, going from 2/8 to 4/12, and the golden being adjusted accordingly to be an 8/24.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Caligos has been doing some workouts.
Mm-hmm. It's a wing day. I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
It's legitimately so terrible. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that, Jocelyn. Nathrezim Overseer going from 4 health to 3 health, and the golden being adjusted accordingly, going from a 4/8 to a 4/6. Makes sense. I think Nathrezim Overseer was a little too good for its tavern tier. It was a lot of times. I've drafted so many Nathrezim Overseers without a demon on board, and you probably shouldn't feel as good as I feel about doing that.
Yeah, I think this is also a good change. Although, again, he's not one that was always sticking on board, but when he did, he was sometimes getting work done. So, but he's one of the ones that you kind of want to buy and sell over and over and over. So,
yeah.
This is fine.
Exactly. So just a little bit less meat on Nathrezim Overseer's bones. And also, like, adjusting that breakpoint, it's one thing to take into account when we're looking at how Deathwing has been changed, but it's not like they haven't adjusted too much health in the lower early game. Yeah, we're talking about like tier 4 on Herald of Flame. So yeah, it hasn't affected early to mid game breakpoints that much in regards to Deathwing. But this does affect it for sure with Overseer. Twilight Emissary is going to it's still Tavern tier. Wait, no.
So it was 5. Now it's tier 3.
Yeah, it was tier 5. Yeah, this is a big one. So it was Tavern tier 5, 6/8. Battlecry, give a friendly dragon +3/+3. Now it's Tavern tier 3, 4/4. Battlecry, give a friendly dragon +2/+2. So not as powerful, but 2 tavern tiers lower. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. This one's interesting.
This is a big change, but I think that this is good because it's kind of that like middle of the road time when you want to be using battle cries to buff stuff up. Like I found he just came way too late, because again, with the battle cry minions, the kind of stuff you want to do is play them and sell them and play them and sell them over multiple turns in order to buff up your board. So he just kind of came too late to be tied to the battle cry thing. I think now he's just better. Yeah, it's very like mid game stuff.
Yeah, dragons are missing meat in mid game.
Yeah,
and so this brings it for sure. And it was nice that there was something kind of powerful with a big buff that kind of like lined itself up with when you start finding Bran and Caligos. But this doesn't make this any worse because you can start applying buffs much sooner in the game, tossing them back and finding them again. Yeah. So overall, I think I do like this, and dragons needed some shoring up. So I like it. Also, transformation animations when playing a minion from hand will be sped up during the recruit phase, cutting down the amount of time players are left waiting for animations to resolve. Praise Yogg.
Yay.
Praise him. Yeah.
And then we got some news in these patch notes about March 26th and what exactly is coming. So all of the priest changes, I think we mentioned earlier, are coming on March 26th.
Yes.
But in addition to that, there's so much more.
Yeah. Dr. Boom Mad Genius getting unnerved, going back to 7 mana. Yeah. Giggling Inventor going to 6 mana. Raiding Party going to 3 mana. Reckless Experimenter, used to read Death Rattle's minions. Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at end of turn. Cost can't be reduced below 1. Now reads Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at end of turn. No more maximum cost reduction.
Yeah, so now they can be reduced below 1.
Yep.
So yeah, zero mana minions.
March 26th, gonna be a crazy day.
Yep.
This is just...
It's like too much to wrap my head around, like legit. Just
play the Office. It's happening. Play that clip. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's every week in Hearthstone now, until after the expansion has been released. And then we're going to like start getting smacked with like major Battlegrounds updates again. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
Because they said so. I'm actually not dealing with any information here that isn't already public. Like they were saying like, yeah, expect major updates around expansions.
Yeah. Okay, so card pack changes. So the card pack changes, I don't know if we actually even have mentioned yet, but essentially what they're doing for card packs is that they are applying the legendary rules to all rarities, so you can no longer get duplicates, which is crazy.
Yeah, so good. So freaking good. And when we were talking about ways to make Hearthstone more accessible to everyone in terms of cost, this goes a very long way. Also just makes me legitimately excited to open a card pack.
Yes.
Like, freaking, that's awesome. Like if I get like I was already excited if I got a legendary, but now if I get a rare or an epic, mostly for epics, like I'm stoked as someone who buys a lot of cards at the start of the expansion. I'm excited about this. If I don't buy a lot of cards, I'm excited about this. You know what I'm excited about this on? My European account. Although not as much now because I guess I just need a Battlegrounds ticket. Although actually I'm really stoked about that because it's way more cost effective to unlocking all the junk over on my European account than it would have been to just try and buy 30 card packs because there's no 30 card pack bundle. I'm double excited. You know what I mean? Yeah, listen, I get all the reasons, but for me, it's the best thing that could ever happen to Battlegrounds.
Yep.
Because now for $20, I can just get all the Battlegrounds I want on my Smurf account. Yay. Great. This is awesome. Also, Illidan, we're just going in the order of the blog post at this point. Illidan in Battlegrounds was not up in the Battlegrounds section.
Yeah, it's because he's not actually live. So everything up in the Battleground section is live right now. So the new fungal Mancer Flurgle is in the pool. You can play him right now.
Yeah.
Illidan isn't coming until March 26th. So we have to wait a little bit longer. We have 9 days to wait until we can actually play Illidan in Battlegrounds, but he is coming.
Yeah. And so Illidan in Battlegrounds, he has a passive hero power called Wingman. At the start of combat, your left and rightmost minions attack immediately. And of course, Illidan would have Wingman.
Of course. I giggled because his Battlegrounds portrait, like he has so many muscles that they look like almost like pustules, like growth, like he's got the plague or something. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just too many muscles. It's too many.
This is awesome. That's really cool. Left and rightmost, like that's wild.
Yeah,
like simultaneous.
Very interesting.
I wonder, how does that resolve in combat? Do they have the potential of overkilling? Because if they attack immediately, do they attack simultaneously? And can they attack the same minion and overkill it and waste an attack?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I haven't seen this. No clue. That's really freaking cool. And
it'll be fun to play with.
And somewhere in all of this, we also, because it wasn't in this blog post or in the patch 16.6, we didn't talk about the fact that they're going to be giving you a deck.
Right. Yeah. So there's a read more section of the stuff that's coming on the 26th because they did a whole nother blog post. If you guys haven't been to playhearthstone.com today, I do highly recommend it because there are multiple blog posts that have gone up today that explain a whole lot of this stuff. But there is a blog post about all of the other changes in the Year of the Phoenix stuff. That's where your roadmap is going to be. But they did talk a lot about what they're doing for new and returning players. So returning players, I think you have to have not logged into Hearthstone for 4 months, I believe, before now. So before March 17th.
Yes.
And then the returning player rules will apply to you. And you get all kinds of cool stuff. Like new players get a deck built from a class of their choice once they finished playing through the new introduction. So new and returning players will get an introduction that is, I believe, Illidan, right? I think it's like his intro stuff.
That would make sense. I genuinely do not remember.
Okay, I'm fairly certain on that one, but chat room, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they said that the Illidan kind of playthrough stuff was going to be the new player experience, and then once you finish that, you would unlock some stuff as you're going through that, but then when you're finished, you can choose a class and they will just give you a pre-built complete deck.
Yeah. And Cora has been answering questions about these free decks fast and furious. So it's not like it's you just get the deck and you only play with these cards in this deck. You get those cards.
Right, yes.
And they will be, I know I saw her tweet out that they will be listing the deck options on the website. You will not be able to see the deck options in the game, but you will be able to see them on the website. So you will know what deck you're getting for the class that you choose. And it is supposed to be a competitively viable deck.
Right.
So nutty, man. Wild times. This is something I think the game has always needed, and I don't say that as a takedown. I think it's great that this is coming.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if those decks ever, make their way into the store, because I think that's something that we talked about like years ago now.
Yeah,
the idea of being able to purchase a pre-built deck. And so now that they're going to be giving those to new and returning players, I wonder if it's something we might see make its way into the store at some point in the future, much like the class-specific packs. Like I can see the Hearthstone store expanding quite a lot in the future.
Yeah, I could too. And so this is where we will leave it for today's episode.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I love you guys, and I am so tired.
Yeah, it was a bit. It was a bit. It was crazy. But it's also super awesome and exciting. Like I am so freaking jazzed about all of this. What is my biggest complaint? Edwin isn't going to the Hall of Fame. I'm really excited about all of this stuff. And I'm very ready for a meta shakeup. So let's go. Let's freaking go.
I honestly can't believe that the expansion is coming so soon. Like they just announced it March 17th, and then we're going to have the expansion, the rotation, everything in our hands like April 7th, April 9th. I can't even remember now. It's so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're going to highlight cards. Don't expect us to cover all the cards. It's just impossible.
We are going to literally have one show between now and the expansion, or maybe two. Yeah.
Right. It's just not feasible. With our availability.
Yeah.
To cover all the cards.
It's nuts.
So yes.
I love it. I'm on board.
Yes. Which is fine. So many. I'm okay with it. I know I've heard from a couple of you. They're like, oh, I'd like all the cards covered. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that you can get your card coverage from. And I'm okay with that. All content does not have to be the same, and it does not have to include everything. So that's the piece I'm making, because otherwise it's going to stress me out and drive me insane. So don't expect all cards to be covered here, but we will be talking about major highlight cards that you should definitely be aware of. And we have a lot more to talk about. We were gonna at some point in the future really chew on that roadmap, because that is just spectation, celebration. I cannot wait to spectate or speculate. Speculate is the word I'm trying to come up with. Oh, it's just insane. It's just absolutely insane. F's in chat for emails, because the poor email section of the show.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I said to Garrett, I'm like, should I go and try to find some questions? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff over in our Patreon Discord and everything. He's just like, Joss, this is going to be a 3-hour show. And I was like, no way.
This is not my fault. Okay, all right.
We're coming up on 3 hours. No, I'm not. I'm on board with you. Emails in a 3-hour show is too much. But I didn't think it was going to be this long. I thought we were going to be much more concise.
I can't
Turns
remember.
out that's impossible.
I can't remember where I heard this, and I'm sure I'm going to misquote it, but I'm going to leave you with this anecdote about Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon was one time asked, Joss, why do you kill everyone? And Joss Whedon indignantly replied, God kills everyone. And to that I say, I am not to blame for a 3-hour show not having time for emails. Team 5 is to blame.
It's the Hearthstone gods. They did this.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, my biggest complaint is like, I legitimately think they could have gotten more hype runway out of this. Like, this is a lot at once, I think, for anyone. And I realize we are biased because from a content creation standpoint, this is actually difficult to cover.
Yes.
And so we are going to have that opinion. But from a marketing standpoint, I think they could also had a much longer tail of insane hype around this. Even with the really crazy turnaround they've laid out for themselves in terms of card reveals. It's coming out.
I think that
weeks.
there's just kind of a lot going on right now that's really messing with people's schedules. So I think, I'm not going to come down on them too hard for any of this, but I do agree though. All of this in one day. Well, I mean, like most of the stuff that happened in 16.6 would have been just its whole own thing at any other time. It might have even had like a AMA type stream thing going on or something. I don't know, but it would have been its own thing. And it like wasn't even mentioned today. It got a blog post. It got like a patch note blog post, but yeah, it was very much like an afterthought when 16.6 would have been a ginormous update in its own right.
Yeah. It's a minor thing. Like as a player, I'm stoked about all of this. But I was just like, it's, legitimately a little difficult to cover. And also like, I would have spaced it out a little bit more, really, get some mileage out of all this hype, but whatever, to each their own. That's not what they did. And that brings us to the end of this episode. We will be back next week. We're going to be on Wednesday again next week. We're just going to have to stick to that. If something big happens Tuesday, screw it. We're recording Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come join us live, and if everything goes according to plan, we should have Regis joining us again. Yay. There's so much like influx. Like we're expecting all the cards to be revealed, I think, by next week. But who knows? And
who knows?
And Regis has his own channel to attend to. So if something happens last minute and he can't make it, totally understand. But yeah, should have Regis rejoining us again next week to talk about all of this stuff. And we can actually kind of chat about it as opposed to just trying to relay information, which I'm really excited about. But anyways, keep the emails coming, tacpodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we're doing here, seriously, please go check out patreon.com/TAC. It's an opt-in subscription. If you want to support the show, it's the best way to do so. And you can give however much you would like, whatever works for you. And you get all kinds of perks like an ad-free feed, access to the Patreon Discord. You can ask us questions there in real time. In fact, I was chatting back and forth about a Discord question that was posted in there today because I knew we were not going to have time to get to it today. I knew it. So go check it out, patreon.com/TAC. Also, huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H and Cheesy Bob. Thank you for the support, you too. Everything else is at amove.tv, back catalog of this podcast, which everything is just going to feel like ancient history at this time. Only 9 classes. What is this old piece of crap? Like you just like blow the dust off of it and get the archaeologists out here. That's how old this stuff is going to feel in retrospect. But yeah, other than that, Jocelyn, you do so much stuff other than the Angry Chicken. Folks may not know. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. I'm actually not at work this week, so I'm looking to stream a little bit more later on in the week. So just go check out the Twitch channel. But other than that, I tweet out everything I do, including we've got a new episode of For Azeroth coming out this week. New episode of Gamers In. Just lots and lots and lots of stuff happening this week.
Rad. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. Everything is at emove.tv. WoW Killer's coming back tomorrow. I'm excited. It's been on break for a while for reasons that are obvious if you're a fan of Taliesin and Evitel.
Who isn't?
I find them
they're
likable.
Wonderful people.
I like them a lot. Yeah, so go check that out. Into the Nexus resumes Thursday as usual. I would highly recommend you go find our episode with AZ Jackson. That was an awesome episode. Go check that out wherever podcasts can be found. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken. Stick around after the break if you're listening on podcast for our interview about all of this. Literally all of it. If you're on podcast, that'll play immediately following our outro. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.